Chapter 1419. The Army's Attack. You're letting them go just like that? Mo Shan's jaw dropped when he saw Fairy Yin she bring Ningyu and Kuang Zhan along with the pagoda of Yuzuin. Don't let them go? Do you have a plan? Jin Xiong's face was ashen. He waved his hand and said, "Let's go." Whoosh! As Jin Xiong said this, all the Jin family powerhouses in the area followed him and headed towards the capital of the Thousand-Leaf Empire. Jin Xiong's heart was heavy. The Jin family had suffered heavy losses this time, and he didn't know how to explain it to his ancestor. However, Jin Xiong still held great hope in his heart. Jin Xinghai was in the pagoda of Yuzuin, and he believed that as long as he had enough time, he would definitely be able to leave the pagoda of Yuzuin. After all, Jin Xinghai's cultivation was in the middle phase, heavenly sovereign realm. Di Peng and Jin Xiong had similar thoughts. Their ancestor, Di Patian, was also trapped in the pagoda of Yuzuin. Although Di Patian was only an early-stage Sky Supreme, he wasn't any weaker than an ordinary mid-stage Sky Supreme. As long as their ancestor was in the pagoda of Yuzuin, hope wouldn't be extinguished. Roar! The most furious one was the dark gold, mystic tiger. Just as it was about to devour Ningyu, someone came to save him. The tiger roared at the sky and said, "Prepare the sovereign's blood essence for me. I want to break through to the Sky Supreme Realm and flatten the 100 Flowers Palace." Ning, you didn't know what was happening at Nebula Academy. At this moment, he was in an incomparably dark space, and his surroundings were pitch black. Crack, crack, crack. At the same time, the sound of space cracking rang in his ears. Ningyu knew that he was rushing through a spatial tunnel. Ningyu's condition was not bad, because in his previous life he often tore through the void to escape, and each time he would stay in the space for a long time. "Senior Yin Shi, are we going to the 100 Flowers Palace?" Inside the spatial crack, Kuang Zhan stood beside Ningyu, responsible for protecting Ningyu. Ningyu said to Yun Shi. When he was in the empty realm, Ningyu learned about the current situation of the 100 Flowers Palace from Chengling. In the 100 Flowers Palace, there were no compromising factions, and they were led by Fairy Yun Shi. To Giant Shield City, Fairy Yin, she did not speak much. She only told Ningyu the location of a place, and then she did not speak again. Ningyu was slightly stunned because he knew nothing about Giant Shield City. Giant Shield City is the second largest city under the Flower Palace. Just because Fairy Yin she didn't say anything didn't mean that Ningyu couldn't find out. Kuang Zhan was a native cultivator of the Dan-Qin continent. Furthermore, he had reached the 9th grade Earth Supreme Realm, so he had naturally heard of the Giant Shield City. I see. After listening to Mad Warrior's explanation, Ningyu nodded slightly. There were 2 major cities under the 100 Flowers Palace, Giant Shield City and 100 Flower City. Judging from the current situation, 100 Flower City was definitely under the control of a mysterious person. As for Giant Shield City, it was controlled by Fairy Yin Shi. I wonder if Lu Wei and the rest are in Giant Shield City. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu's brows were slightly solemn. Ever since they parted ways in the Cross Canyon, Ningyu had not seen Lu Wei and the rest. Although Sage Spiritual Su and the Sword of Evil were following them, Ningyu was still worried. After all, the Dan-Qin continent was extremely dangerous, and the 100 Flowers Palace had basically fallen. If the mysterious person controlling the 100 Flowers Palace sent people to surround Lu Wei and the rest, the situation would become very dangerous. Forget it. Let's go to Giant Shield City first. Ningyu was very clear that it was useless to think about it now. The only thing he could do now was to go to Giant Shield City first, and then come up with a long-term plan. Maybe Lu Wei and the rest had already arrived at Giant Shield City? Otherwise, there was no reason for Fairy Yin Shi to come to Nebula Academy to save him. Different situations call for different actions. Ningyu released his perception and paid close attention to the changes in his surroundings. Although Crazy Warrior was protecting him, Ningyu did not dare to be careless. There could be danger at any time in the spatial rift. If he was not careful, even a Sky Supreme powerhouse could die inside. Giant Shield City. Very, very big. Strictly speaking, Giant Shield City belonged to the Thousand Leaf Empire. However, Giant Shield City was located at the border between the Thousand Leaf Empire and the Cloudy Wind Empire. A long time ago, the Thousand Leaf Empire was jointly controlled by the 100 Flowers Palace and the Emperor Palace. Ever since the rise of the Thousand Leaf Empire's Gene family, the 100 Flowers Palace and the Emperor Palace gradually withdrew from the Thousand Leaf Empire and handed the empire over to the Gene family. Among them, the 100 Flowers Palace withdrew to the border between the Thousand Leaf Empire and the Cloudy Wind Empire, obtaining two major cities, Giant Shield City and 100 Flower City. As for the Emperor Palace, they withdrew to the hinterland of the Thousand Leaf Empire, Mount Mata'a, the Thousand Leaf Ridge, and the Rakshasa Cave were known as the three most ominous places of the Thousand Leaf Empire. The Thousand Leaf Empire's Gene family naturally had no objections to the Emperor Palace's decision to take root in Mount Mata'a. At this moment, Giant Shield City was silent. The city gates had long been closed. On the city tower, groups of martial artists were waiting in formation, as if they were facing a great enemy. Qingling, can Fairy Yin she really invite Master Xingyun to Nebula Academy? On an empty space on the city tower, four martial artists stood side by side. An old man looked into the distance with a grave expression and said in a deep voice, "They might attack in half an hour." "I'm 90% sure." Cheng Ling's expression was also very grave. Giant Shield City only had Fairy Yin Shi, a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Supreme. Once she left, Giant Shield City would be extremely empty. They had done a good job keeping it a secret. Who would have thought that just 3 hours ago they would receive a secret report that the experts of 100 Flower City were about to attack? Upon hearing this news, everyone's first reaction was that someone had betrayed Giant Shield City. Therefore, while Cheng Ling and the others searched for the traitor, they mobilized martial artists to guard Giant Shield City and tried to find a way to contact Fairy Yin Shi. It didn't matter that Fairy Yin Shi had left. The most important thing was that she had taken the 100 Flowers fan with her. There was a great array in Giant Shield City, and to open it, they could only rely on the 100 Flowers fan. "Okay, I choose to believe you." Hearing that they were 90% sure, the old man nodded and said, "Everyone keep your spirits up. As long as Fairy Yin she can invite Master Xingyun, we won't have to hide here anymore. We can fight back. Fight back. Fight back." The old man's words contained a terrifying fluctuation of luck, so all the martial artists in Giant Shield City could hear it clearly. In Giant Shield City, the strongest expert was Fairy Yin Shi, a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Supreme. With the 100 Flowers fan, her battle prowess was comparable to an ordinary early Sky Supreme. As for the old man, his name was Perfected Demon. He was also a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Supreme, but his battle prowess was slightly weaker than Fairy Yin Shi's. After all, Perfected Demon didn't have a treasure like the 100 Flowers fan. Of course, some people thought that Perfected Demon was strong enough to be on par with Fairy Yin Shi. Rustle, rustle, rustle. When the martial artists repeated the words for the third time, a sudden change occurred. Chapter 1420. Meet head-on, are you here? Gazing at the billowing dust in the distance, Reverend G. Mo's expression was grave. He took a deep breath and said solemnly, "Be on guard." Voila! As soon as GMO finished speaking, the many cultivators on the walls of Giant Shield City started to move. "How long can we defend?" Cheng Ling asked with an ugly expression. From the rumbling dust in the distance, one could tell that the 100 Flower City was coming with great ferocity. Perhaps the palace master of the 100 Flowers Palace had already been controlled by a mysterious expert. If they were really controlled, then it would be meaningless for them to persist here. The reason why they persisted was so that they could one day attack and rescue the palatial mistress. If we defend with all our might, we should be able to hold on for 2 to 3 hours, but we will suffer heavy losses. To prevent others from hearing it, Dao Ren's tone was solemn as he continued. But all of this is based on the fact that there aren't more than 2 pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereigns on the other side. Otherwise, the city gate would be swiftly breached. Chungling and the others fell silent when they heard Taoist Master Chi Mo's words. On their side, there was only Taoist Master Mo, who was a peak 9th grade Earth Supreme. Even if Taoist Shen Mo was powerful, he could only resist 2 pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns. Just as Taoist Shen Mo had said, if 2 pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns came from the 100 Flower City, they would be doomed. The army of 100 Flower City rushed over, and it didn't take long for them to descend below Giant Shield City. Whoosh! In front of the army, 4 figures floated side by side in the air. Vigorous yuan energy undulations pulsed from the bodies of these 4 figures. Amongst them, the old man leading the group had his aura restrained. Evidently, he was a pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign. As for the other 3 cultivators, they weren't pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereigns, but they weren't any weaker than late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns. Perfected Devil, I'll give you one last chance. Open the city gates and submit to us. The old man in the lead smirked and said sinisterly, Otherwise, I'll flatten Giant Shield City. Su Ching, you want to flatten Giant Shield City? Perfected Being GMO stomped on the ground and leaped up suddenly, hovering above the city tower as he said coldly, I can kill you with a single hand. I didn't expect your strength to improve again. Su Cheng wasn't angered by Taoist Jimo's words. He shrugged and said, Don't blame me for not warning you. I'll tell you a secret. Your palace master is on the verge of collapse. Voila! Although Su Ching said it was a secret, that was not the case. His voice was very loud, so loud that all the martial artists in Giant Shield City could hear him clearly. Palace master can't hold on any longer? I don't think so. Didn't the palace lord return? Palace lord didn't come back. The one who came back was Xielan. Palace lord only left a wisp of his soul power in Xielan's body. If the palace lord really can't hold on any longer, what's the point of us persisting here? In Giant Shield City, everyone was discussing fervently. However, in the midst of the discussion, everyone shifted their gazes towards the palace in the center of Giant Shield City. Because 3 days ago, a group of more than 10 people suddenly descended here. Immortal GMO ordered for all news to be sealed. Who would have thought that the news would still spread like wildfire, causing Taoist Master Hung MO to be badly battered? At the critical moment, Fairy Yin, she had brought the 100 Flowers fan to Nebula Academy. Now, Su Ching had brought a large number of martial artists to besiege Giant Shield City. With all sorts of things happening together, if not for Taoist Master Hung Mo's strong willpower, he would have long been unable to hold on. Try to appease the people in the city and ferret out those who are fanning the flames. Taoist Master Hung Mo transmitted his voice to Cheng Ling, who was on the city tower. Kill those who deserve to be killed. Don't be soft-hearted. What's wrong? Is there a fire in your backyard? Seeing the change in Taoist Master Hung Mo's expression, Su Cheng revealed an exaggerated expression. Do you want my army to go in and help you quell the chaos? Do you dare to fight me? Taoist Master Hung Mo completely ignored Su Cheng's words. He released his aura and said in a deep voice, Why wouldn't I dare? Su Ching did not look nervous at all. He took a step forward and said, Let's make an agreement first. As long as I can defeat you, you have to open the city gates and let us in. No problem. Taoist Master Hung Mo nodded. Watch out. Seeing that Taoist Master Hung Mo had agreed, Su Cheng's figure flashed, and he charged at Taoist Master Hung Mo at an extremely shocking speed. Su Ching was also a peak ninth grade Earth Supreme and was extremely powerful. Rumor had it that Su Ching had already advanced to a half-step Heavenly Supreme and was recently thinking of ways to break through to the Heavenly Supreme realm. Of course, these were all rumors and might not be true. Rumble. In midair, Su Ching and Taoist Master Hung, Mo, instantly clashed. You've actually advanced to a half-step Heavenly Supreme. As soon as the two clashed, Taoist Master Hung, Mo realized that something was wrong. Su Cheng, who was a peak ninth grade Earth Supreme, was no match for him. However, Su Cheng, who was a half-step Heavenly Supreme, could fight him head-on and might even have a chance to defeat him. Taoist Master Hung, Mo, did not dare to be the slightest bit careless. He punched out repeatedly, wanting to get rid of Su Ching as soon as possible. Unfortunately, after advancing to a half-step Heavenly Supreme, Su Cheng's reaction speed and vitality were comparable to Taoist Master Hung, Mo. Taoist Master Hung, Mo, did not gain any advantage in the battle. Taoist Master Hung, Mo, after forcing Taoist Master Hung, Mo back with a single move, the corners of Su Cheng's mouth rose. I originally thought that you had already advanced to the Heavenly Supreme realm. Who would have thought that you would still be so stubborn? It seems that I've prepared a little too much. Prepared a little too much? Taoist Master Hung Mo's heart skipped a beat. Su Cheng's meaning was clear. He felt that he had advanced to the Heavenly Supreme realm, so he had made ample preparations to attack Giant Shield City. In that case, Su Cheng should have at least a Heavenly Supreme expert on his side. Thinking of this, Taoist Master Hung Mo's heart sank to the bottom. If a Heavenly Supreme expert really came, he would not be able to kill him even if he fought with his life. Only by burning his blood essence and executing a self-killing secret technique could he contend against them. It would be great if I had a suitable weapon. Taoist Master Hung Mo's eyes were extremely grave. The people of Giant Shield City knew that Taoist Master Hung Mo was strong, but they did not know exactly how strong he was. Only Taoist Master Hung Mo had a deep understanding of his own strength. If Fairy Yin she did not use the 100 Flowers fan, she would not be a match for him. In fact, even if Fairy Yin she used the 100 Flowers fan, she could only fight to a draw with him. Otherwise, why would Fairy Yin she take the risk to take the 100 Flowers fan with her? Forget it, there's no point. Please step forward and kill Taoist Master Hung Mo. Su Cheng shrugged his shoulders and respectfully said to the void beside him. Rumble. The void suddenly split open, and a slightly thin cultivator appeared before everyone's eyes. A Heavenly Supreme. The thin cultivator's cultivation had reached the terrifying Heavenly Supreme realm. Chapter 1421. Chapter 1421. Chapter 1421. This aura. When the thin cultivator appeared, Perfected Devil opened his mouth slightly and his expression instantly darkened. The reason why Perfected Devil had such an expression wasn't because he was afraid of the thin cultivator, but because the aura emanating from the thin cultivator was similar to that of the mysterious expert who controlled the palace master of the 100 Flowers Palace. The aura of the mysterious expert who controlled the palatial Lord Centauria Palace master wasn't much different from this aura. Both came from the same place. Spiritual Master Mo instantly made a judgment. Su Ching, you asked me to come here just to deal with this trash? After appearing, the skinny cultivator first glanced at Sage, Chaos Demon. Then he said disdainfully, my time is limited. It is best that you do not trouble me with people like him in the future. This is the only one. There will be no next time. Su Cheng said hurriedly, not daring to be slow at all. As long as they could attack Giant Shield City and disperse the wisp of soul force that the palace mistress of the 100 Flowers had left in Xielan's body, then the 100 Flowers Palace would fall completely. Su Cheng was still thinking of seeking a good job when the 100-Flower Palace fell into enemy hands. He would definitely not offend the thin martial artist. All right. I'll go kill that old man first. You guys quickly complete the task Master gave you. The skinny cultivator obviously didn't want to talk nonsense with Su Cheng here. His figure shot out and rushed towards Tao Master GMO. In the first move, the thin martial artist did not use his full strength. Taoist Master GMO was only a peak 9th grade Earth Supreme, so he wasn't worthy of him using his full strength. In their race, almost all heavenly sovereigns could instantly kill Earth sovereigns. Even though he was not a peerless genius of his tribe, he was still one of the best. Remember to be smarter in your next life. There are some people you can't afford to offend. The thin martial artist clenched his right fist and punched towards Reverend G. Mo's head. Remember, my name is Tuahi. I don't care if you're Tuaha or Nayohi. You want to kill me? Do you think it's that easy? GMO didn't care about Tuaha or Nayohi. It wasn't like he hadn't fought with heavenly sovereigns before. If any heavenly supreme could kill him, then he, Tao Master GMO, would be too weak. Big violent fist. Reverend GMO injected the vital energy in his sea of consciousness into his wrist, which inevitably collided with Tuahi's fist. Bang! The two fists collided, and the two figures retreated rapidly. Although Tuahi had the upper hand in terms of the distance he had retreated, he was still able to maintain his composure. However, Tuahi was not satisfied. If a heavenly sovereign like him couldn't defeat a pinnacle 9th grade Earth sovereign in a single punch, how would he maintain his footing in the Tua clan? You have completely infuriated me. Tuahi took a deep breath and said coldly, for the sake of rewarding you, I've decided to swallow you alive. As soon as he finished speaking, Tuahi transformed into his true form, Rock. Perfected Devil was slightly stunned when he saw Tuahi's true form. Tuahi's true form was that of a rock, which greatly exceeded Taoist Master G. Mo's expectations. The rock was known for its speed and charging power. Originally, Taoist Master G. Mo's advantage was speed, but now that Tuahi had transformed into his true form, Taoist Master G. Mo's advantage instantly disappeared. Kill! Flapping his wings, Tuahi's figure streaked across the sky. Charging fiercely toward Reverend GMO Tua, he used his full strength for the second attack. He wanted to kill perfected being Chaos Devil. Puchi! Under Tuahi's powerful attack, perfected being Chaos Devil spat out a mouthful of blood and his face turned pale. You're still too inexperienced to fight me. Tuahi did not continue his attack, but turned back into his human form and said, Su Cheng, he has already lost 50% of his fighting strength. Go and capture him. I'll bring him back to the Flower Palace. No problem. Su Cheng rubbed his shoulders, eager to give it a try. Back in the Flower Palace, Su Cheng and Perfected Devil weren't on good terms, and they often fought. Back then, Su Cheng's strength wasn't too strong, and he wasn't Perfected Devil's opponent. But now he had advanced to the half-step Heavenly Supreme Realm, while Perfected Devil was heavily injured. Such a good opportunity was truly hard to come by. Thus, Su Cheng swiftly charged out, wanting to capture Perfected Devil. You're destined to suffer now that you've fallen into my hands, Su Cheng said sinisterly as he charged out. Rustle, rustle, rustle. Just when Su Cheng was about to grab Perfected Devil, 3 figures suddenly appeared on the city wall of Giant Shield City. The cultivation of the 3 figures were late-stage, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns. Their goal was clear, to rescue Perfected Devil. Whoosh! However, the 3 late-stage, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns on Su Cheng's side were already waiting. As soon as the cultivators on the city wall rushed down, they charged out and engaged in battle. Su Cheng, do you really think you can capture me? Suddenly, Taoist Master Harmony Devil raised his head and looked at Su Cheng, who was dashing over, and he spoke indifferently. Su Cheng's heart skipped a beat when he was stared at by Perfected Devil. He vaguely felt that something was amiss. However, with Tuahi holding the line, and Perfected Devil was heavily injured, Su Cheng didn't believe that anything would happen. You won't be able to escape today. Su Cheng's gaze was firm as he punched his right fist at Perfected Devil's chest. Right at this moment, an unexpected event occurred. Suddenly, Reverend GMO took out a silver-white flying sword from his bosom. The flying sword wasn't too long, but it was unusually hard. When Su Cheng was half a step away from Perfected Devil threw out the silver-white flying sword. The silver-white flying sword was so fast that it could almost catch up to ordinary heavenly sovereigns. Crack! A crisp sound rang out. Ah! Immediately after, Su Cheng's miserable shriek resounded in the area like a pig being slaughtered. You! Looking down at his palm that had fallen to the ground, Su Cheng's eyes were filled with horror. His right hand was chopped off because of his carelessness. Come back! Su Cheng growled and grabbed at the void with his left hand, trying to grab his severed right hand. You want to get your right hand back? Dream on. Perfected Devil's eyes turned extremely cold. He controlled the silver-white flying sword and slashed at Su Cheng's right hand again. Crack! Crack! This time, Perfected Devil didn't hold back. The flying sword slashed back and forth on Su Cheng's right hand, directly chopping it into several pieces. Ah! Su Cheng felt like dying when he saw Perfected Devil's actions. His right hand was completely destroyed because of his carelessness. I'm going to skin you alive. Su Cheng screamed like a madman and charged at Perfected Devil. Die! When Perfected Devil attacked, he didn't forget to look at Tuahi. No matter what, Tuahi was a heavenly supreme. If Tuahi wanted to protect Su Cheng, Perfected Devil would still retreat. As it turned out, Perfected Devil was thinking too much. Not only did Tuahi not attack, but he even crossed his arms in front of his chest, looking like he was watching a show. There's actually such an expert in the Pill Formation mainland. Just nice. I can take him back and study him. Chapter 1422. The Dark Emperor appears. A great battle broke out. Outside Giant Shield City, a fierce battle broke out between Tao Master GMO and Su Cheng. Tao Master GMO could have killed Su Cheng, but he didn't. He was stalling for time, because once Su Cheng was killed, he would have to face Tuahi. He couldn't be compared to Su Cheng. Killing him was harder than ascending to the heavens. Drip. Time passed. With every passing second, Su Cheng's injuries worsened. However, Su Cheng was like a cockroach that couldn't be killed. On the other side of the battlefield, 3 late 9th grade Earth sovereigns from Giant Shield City were fighting against 3 9th grade Earth sovereigns from 100 Flower City. The 3 late 9th grade Earth sovereigns from Giant Shield City were clearly at a disadvantage. However, it wasn't possible for the late 9th grade Earth sovereigns from 100 Flowers City to win in a short time. The scene became a little strange. Both battlefields seemed to be calm and peaceful. Gradually, the 3 9th grade Earth sovereigns from 100 Flower City realized that something was wrong. They wanted to force the cultivators from Giant Shield City to retreat and help Su Cheng. However, the 3 9th grade Earth sovereigns from 100 Flower City were fighting with the mentality of certain death. How could they escape so easily? Under Tao Master Gmo's powerful attacks, Su Cheng kept vomiting blood, and his body was on the verge of collapse. On the other hand, although Tao Master GMO was also injured, they were all superficial wounds. Senior Tua, please help Elder Su. When a 5th grade Earth sovereign of the 100 Flower City saw Su Cheng's miserable state, he braced himself and took a step forth. This 5th grade Earth sovereign was Tua, his disciple. He had offended many people in 100 Flower City. If Su Cheng was killed, he would definitely be finished. You want me to help that trash? Tuahi turned around and looked at Su Cheng's disciple. Give me a reason. My master is the city lord of 100 Flower City and the main force of the attack on Giant Shield City. Also, the great master thinks highly of him. If he... Su Cheng's disciple said. Slap. Before Su Cheng's disciple could finish his words, his face turned red as a palm imprint appeared on it. The great master thinks highly of Su Cheng? Why didn't I know? Tua, he said coldly, remember this, all of you are our dogs. Whatever we tell you to do, you have to do. Everyone lowered their heads upon hearing Tuahi's words. What's your name? Tuahi looked at Su Cheng's disciple and asked, Li Xiu. Su Cheng's disciple said honestly, a grown man actually has this kind of name. Dai. Tuahi's eyes suddenly turned cold. His right hand pointed at the void, and in an instant the void exploded. Xiu. Soon after, a cold light struck Li Xiu's head. Why you can't kill me? Li Xiu's expression changed drastically, and she hurriedly said, Whoosh! Even though Li Xiu screamed, she couldn't escape the fate of being killed. The cold light pierced through his forehead and killed him on the spot. Li Xiu. Originally, Su Cheng was wholeheartedly fighting against Spiritual Master GMO. But Spiritual Master GMO just so happened to strike his chest, causing his body to slightly dodge. This flash directly allowed him to see Li Xiu's miserable state. Li Xiu was his last disciple and had cultivated to the 5th grade Earth Supreme Realm at such a young age. Even in the Pill Formation continent, he was an absolute genius. Such a genius martial artist was actually killed by Tuahi so casually. You dare to be distracted while fighting me? That's not good. How could Spiritual Master GMO let go of such a good opportunity? He clenched his right hand into a fist and suddenly punched out. Not good. Su Cheng was greatly alarmed and tried to block in a fluster. Crack! Alas, it was obviously too late for Su Cheng to block it now. His chest was struck by Spiritual Master GMO and he was directly sent flying. Go! Spiritual Master GMO swung the silver-white flying sword and chased after Su Cheng. Chi! The silver-white flying sword rubbed against the void, emitting a hissing sound and arriving in front of Su Cheng in the blink of an eye. Under Su Cheng's horrified gaze, the silver-white flying sword stabbed into his heart. Uft! Su Cheng spat out a large mouthful of blood, but he did not die on the spot. Instead, he glanced at Tuahi, wanting him to save him. In our eyes, you're no different from a dog. Tuahi's reply to Su Cheng was a mocking voice. Pooh! Su Cheng's eyes rolled back as the flames of adversity attacked his heart, and he died on the spot. Slap! Slap! All right, I've played enough. Return to the Flower Palace with me now, and I'll spare your life. Tuahi patted his hands together and walked slowly towards Spiritual Master GMO. Otherwise, you might die here. Who? Suddenly, Tuahi's expression changed, and he clenched his right hand into a fist and suddenly smashed it towards the space beside him. Swoosh! Swoosh! Tuahi's punch directly forced out 2 figures. A human and dog combination? Tuahi was slightly stunned when he saw the 2 figures that had suddenly appeared, and then he said, the dog is a grade 5 human exalt, and the human is a grade 9 human exalt. They're comparatively weaker. The appearance of these 2 figures didn't just stun Tuahi, even Spiritual Master GMO was slightly stunned. Don't you think you and your dog are too weird? It's fine if you're strong, but the crux is that both of you are extremely weak and aren't even at the Earth Exalt realm. Is your appearance any different from courting death? We're finished. Our positioning failed. Both the human and dog were slightly stunned when they sensed the terrifying figures in the surroundings. That's right, the human and dog were the Dark Emperor and Zhan Ba. Ever since they parted ways with Ningyu, the 2 of them had finally arrived at the 1,000 Leaves Empire after going through a lot of hardships. In the Thousand Leaves Empire, they found many treasures of heaven and earth, and everyone's strength improved. The Dark Emperor advanced from grade 4 Human Exalt to grade 5 Human Exalt, and Janba advanced to grade 9 Human Exalt. Originally, they thought that they could help Ningyu after advancing, so they found a broken formation and teleported to the 100 Flowers Palace's territory. The Dark Emperor knew very well that Ningyu would definitely head to the 100 Flowers Palace, which was why they came here. Who would have thought that they would encounter a huge battle as soon as they arrived? Misfortune really never came alone. Sorry, please continue. We didn't mean to disturb you. Janba revealed an apologetic expression and said, May I ask if this is Giant Shield City? That's right, this is Giant Shield City. Tua, he was rather interested in this human and dog. I'm a Sky Supreme. Aren't you guys afraid of seeing me? Since that was the case, Tua, he decided to have some fun with this human and dog. Sorry to disturb you. Our destination is Giant Shield City. Janba apologized again. After that, Janba and the Dark Emperor calmly walked toward Giant Shield City. The actions of the two of them made everyone a little confused. They were heading toward Giant Shield City. Just like that, the people of Giant Shield City were confused. They didn't know if they should open the city gates. The people of 100 Flower City were confused because they felt that the other party was pretending to be weak. Even Tua, he was a little confused. Are they really pretending to be weak? Chapter 14:23. Chapter 14:23. Chapter 14:23. The mantis stalks the cicada. You three, test them out for me. After some thought, Tua, he decided to test the Dark Emperor and Janba. However, he wasn't the one testing it, but the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns. He didn't want any unforeseen events to occur. If the Dark Emperor and Janba were really pretending to be pigs to eat tigers, wouldn't he be finished if he acted rashly? Keeping an eye on everything was better than anything else. Yes, although the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns were brooding over Su Cheng's death, they didn't dare to disobey Tuahi's orders. The 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns charged towards the Dark Emperor and Janba. What Tuahi said was a probe, but the 3 of them did not treat it as a simple probe. Their attacks were exceptionally powerful. Almost everyone used their trump cards. Even a lion would use its full strength to catch a rabbit, let alone them. Seeing the Dark Emperor and Janba being besieged by the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flower City, the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City shifted their gazes towards Chi-Mo, seeking his opinion. Help me. Master G. Mo nodded slightly. That black dog is very similar to the Dark Emperor Palace Lord spoke of. Since he couldn't figure out Janba and the Dark Emperor's identities, he chose to help them. After all, the Palace Lord had said that Ningyu had a powerful black dog with him. It was obvious that Master Devil had taken Janba to Ningyu on the spot. No problem. The 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns from the Giant Shield City had long wanted to make a move. They didn't know about Ningyu and the Dark Emperor, but they knew very well that the enemy of my enemy is my friend. Since the 100 Flower City wanted to kill this man and dog, they had to protect them unconditionally. You're courting death. For some reason, when the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City made a move, the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the 100 Flower City revealed expressions of relief. They immediately turned around and started fighting with the 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of Giant Shield City. Did we come at the wrong time? The Dark Emperor swallowed a mouthful of saliva and said in a low voice, It is indeed not the right time. Janba nodded. However, I can sense that Ningyu should be nearby. The Dark Emperor said solemnly. Are you sure? Janba was surprised, asking hurriedly. I'm basically certain. The Dark Emperor said. Think about it, if Ningyu wasn't around, how could the 3 9th grade Earth Sovereigns help us? Hearing the Dark Emperor's words, Jean Ba's face darkened. Is that what you meant by basically certain? What a bunch of nonsense. Let's just think of entering Giant Shield City as soon as possible. Jean Ba's eyes turned as he thought of a countermeasure. No matter what, since the people of Giant Shield City had helped them, they couldn't disappoint them. Others had gone through untold hardships to help him, but in the end he still messed around. Wouldn't that disappoint others? Buzz. What Jean Ba did not know was that the Dark Emperor's deduction was right. In the void not far away from them, 3 figures stood side by side. Senior Yun Shi, how confident are you that you can defeat that heavenly supreme? Ning Yu asked after his gaze lingered on Tua He and Tao Master Harmony Demon for a brief moment. In terms of strength, I'm not that heavenly supreme's match, but I have the 100 Flowers fan. Fairy Yin, she said, if I join forces with Tao Master Harmony Devil, we can even kill that heavenly supreme. Are you sure you can kill that heavenly supreme? Ning Yu was surprised. That was a heavenly supreme. In his previous life, he was only a heavenly supreme. If it wasn't for the fact that he was extremely weak from refining pills, how could he have been surrounded and killed by 9 ninth-grade Earth Sovereigns? Even so, there were still a few 9th-grade Earth Sovereigns who were injured. Ning, you could sense that the heavenly supreme in the distance was only slightly weaker than him in his previous life. If I ambush him, I have a 50% chance of heavily injuring him. Fairy Yun, she said solemnly, as long as I can heavily injure him, then it's not impossible to join forces with Venerable Chaos Devil to kill him. That's right. Ning Yu was stunned for a moment before he came to a sudden realization. They were hidden in the void, and the heavenly supreme outside hadn't discovered them. Thinking of this, Ning Yu couldn't help taking another look at the 100 Flowers fan. The 100 Flowers fan was indeed extraordinary to be able to hide from even a heavenly supreme. If he encountered such a treasure again in the future, he had to be careful. That man and dog, are they your friends? Yun, she pointed at the Dark Emperor and Jean Ba. That's right. The dog is called the Dark Emperor, and the man is called Jean Ba. Ning Yu nodded. They once went through fire and water with me. Speaking of which, I have to thank you for helping them. You don't have to thank me. It wasn't my intention. Yun, she shook her head. It wasn't your intention? Ning Yu was stunned. In Ning Yu's view, the reason why the 3 ninth-grade Earth Sovereigns of Giant Shield City acted was because Yun Shi had sent a voice transmission. At first, Ning Yu was a little puzzled as to why Yun Shi's voice transmission didn't have any spatial fluctuations. Now that he thought about it, it wasn't Yun Shi's intention. Someone in Giant Shield City knows the Dark Emperor. I know. All of a sudden, Ning Yu slapped his thigh and said, Lu Swan must have arrived at the Giant Shield City. Hiss. Ning Yu's strength was so great that Quang Zhan sucked in a breath of cold air. I'm sorry. Ning Yu immediately apologized. It was true that he slapped his thigh, but it was Quang Zhan's thigh. When are we going out? After apologizing, Ning Yu asked Fairy Yun Shi. Palatial Lord Centauria and the rest should have found the demon echo grass in Giant Shield City. We need to refine the soul attraction pill as soon as possible so that Palatial Lord Centauria can cultivate the soul attraction art as soon as possible. There's no hurry. Let me contact Tao Master Demon first. We must give that heavenly supreme a fatal blow. Yin, she waved her hand. If you want to enter Giant Shield City, I can send you in first. Don't. I want to see your fight with that heavenly supreme. Not knowing why, Ning Yu felt a little uneasy. It was a feeling that came from his intuition. That also meant that Ning Yu felt that the heavenly supreme might have discovered something and had his guard up. Quang Zhan, how confident are you if you fight with that heavenly supreme? Ning Yu did not tell Yin Shi about his feeling, since he knew that even if he did, Yin Shi wouldn't believe him. Since that's the case, why not contact Quang Zhan first? Hearing Ningyu's voice transmission, Kwang Zhan was briefly stunned before he replied, "I'm only a ninth-grade Earth Sovereign. I should be able to withstand one move from that Heavenly Supreme." "Only one move?" Ningyu slightly knitted his brows as he muttered, "One move is fine too. If necessary, you can block one move from that Heavenly Supreme." "No problem." Although he had many doubts in his heart, Kwang Zhan did not ask about it. Chapter 1424. Finally attack. What should we do now? Looking at the 6 late phase, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns, Zhanba had a grave expression on his face. Judging from the situation, the 3 late phase, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the giant shield city were at an absolute disadvantage. He could predict that if the battle continued, the 3 late phase, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the giant shield city might fall here. Zhanba felt a little apologetic in his heart. After all, the other party was doing it for them. "Don't be anxious. I can sense that Ningyu is nearby." The Dark Emperor remained calm, because he'd really sensed a wisp of information from Ningyu just now. However, that message was extremely weak, and even he could only sense a tiny bit of it. Thinking about it, it made sense. With a heavenly sovereign eyeing them, Ningyu wouldn't dare to send a message with his cultivation at the mortal sovereign realm. Reliable. Zhanba doubted the Dark Emperor's words. Due to his previous experience, Zhanba didn't believe the Dark Emperor's words. "Of course I'm reliable. When have I, the Dark Emperor, ever been wrong?" The Dark Emperor's face was a little unsightly. Zhanba actually doubted him, which was an insult to him. Who couldn't bear it? If it wasn't for his good relationship with Zhanba, the Dark Emperor might even— Alright, I can't lie anymore. Anyway, you just have to believe me. Don't bother about anything else. The Dark Emperor shifted his gaze towards the battlefield. Seeing the Dark Emperor's actions, Zhanba became even more uncertain. Also, even if Ningyu was nearby, what was the use? The other party had a heavenly sovereign, and no matter how powerful Ningyu was, could he confront a heavenly sovereign? The answer was clearly no. I can only deal with it as it comes. Zhanba took a deep breath and muttered, "Rumble." On the battlefield, the 3 late phase, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the giant shield city were losing. It was so much so that one of the late phase, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the giant shield city was nearly killed. Even though he had used a secret technique to escape the calamity, he had also suffered heavy injuries and was unable to display his peak battle prowess. After losing one of their main forces, the other 2 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of Giant Shield City couldn't hold on any longer and were swiftly defeated. If the battle continued, the 3 late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City would be killed in 3 minutes. Do you really not have any trump cards? Tuahi's eyes were fixed on the battlefield, his brows tightly furrowed as he concentrated. The reason he didn't make a move at the first possible moment was because he felt that the other party had set up an ambush. There was definitely something fishy going on when something was out of the ordinary. He was a bona fide Sky Supreme, and with him overseeing things here, Taoist Master GMO seemed to have nothing to fear. Let's wait a little longer. After some thought, he decided to wait a little longer. Once the battle in the distance was over, he would attack Taoist Master GMO Puff. Puff, puff. 3 minutes passed quickly. The result was within everyone's expectations. The 3 late phase, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City were forced to retreat, with each of them spewing a mouthful of blood. Retreat. The 3 late phase, 9th grade Earth Sovereigns of the Giant Shield City were smart. Their mission was to stall for a few minutes and buy time for the man and dog. Now that the man and dog were safe, they themselves couldn't hold on any longer. There was no point in continuing the battle at this point. Therefore, they immediately used their secret techniques and even burned their lives to use the blood shield technique to escape to Taoist master Jimo's side. The three late-phase, ninth-grade Earth sovereigns of 100 Flowers City floated side by side in the air, looking back at Tuahi, unsure if they should chase after him. "Come back." Tuahi waved his hand and said, "Leave the rest to me." Buzz, buzz. As his voice fell, Tuahi tore through the void with both hands and dove in. Crack! The void shattered, and in the next instant, Tuahi appeared in front of Taoist Master GMO. His right hand clenched into a fist and fiercely punched at Taoist Master Jimo's head. Although Tuahi had transformed into a human, the power of his punch was still very powerful. Chi! Chi! Seeing the fist approaching him, Taoist Master GMO didn't dare to be careless. He hurriedly gathered all his yuan qi on his wrist and punched out. His fist brought with it a violent gale that collided with Tuahi's fist. Crack! The two fists collided, and a crisp sound rang out. Subsequently, Taoist Master GMO was sent flying and only stopped when he reached the edge of Giant Shield City's walls. This move put Taoist Master GMO at a complete disadvantage. "Is that all you've got?" Tuahi curled his lips and said in disdain, "If I revert to my original form, killing you would be as easy as blowing off dust." Taoist Master GMO didn't say anything. He just wiped the blood from the corner of his mouth, and his expression turned extremely grave. Taoist Master GMO knew very well that Tuahi was right. Tuahi could easily kill him if he reverted to his original form as a rock. Of course, all of this was built on the premise that Taoist Master GMO didn't use his suicidal trump card. Once Taoist Master GMO used his suicidal trump card, Tuahi might not be able to win for sure. "Forget it. I was planning to bring you back for research. But now, it seems like there's no need for that anymore. I'll just kill you first." As he spoke, Tuahi charged forth once more. Screech! This time, Tuahi did not hold back, and he used his most powerful move. Rock spread wings. After reverting to his original form, Tuahi flapped his wings rapidly, and a violent gale blasted towards Taoist Master GMO. As for Tuahi himself, he turned into a sharp sword that charged out of the void and attacked Taoist Master GMO's head. Blood sacrifice. At that critical moment, Taoist Master GMO forced out dozens of drops of blood and released his most terrifying trump card. Crack! 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 The moment the blood sacrifice was released, Taoist Master GMO's bones let out cracking sounds. In the blink of an eye, Taoist Master GMO's aura started rising. The blood sacrifice technique was extremely terrifying to begin with. However, the blood sacrifice technique that Taoist Master GMO released was slightly different. Although it was still a consumption of his own essence blood, Taoist Master GMO's consumption was extremely frightening. Every second, Taoist Master GMO's life would be greatly threatened. Bang! The greater the danger, the greater the benefits. In a short period of time, Taoist Master GMO's aura rose from peak 9th grade Earth Supreme to half-step Heavenly Supreme. However, Taoist Master GMO's aura was still rising at a terrifying speed. Bang! Not long after, another muffled sound came from Taoist Master GMO's Sea of Consciousness. Heavenly Supreme. At that moment, Taoist Master GMO's aura had reached the terrifying Heavenly Supreme realm. Although Taoist Master GMO's aura had only increased to the Heavenly Supreme realm and could only last for 5 minutes, it was already not easy for him. Unless he encountered a true Heavenly Supreme, Taoist Master GMO could be said to be invincible below the Heavenly Supreme realm. Your blood sacrifice technique is a little interesting. Tuahi's expression turned solemn. After using the blood sacrifice technique, Taoist Master GMO's strength was already close to his own. Chapter 1425. Unleash a killing move. The interesting part is yet to come. Taoist Master Jimo's eyes shone with a frightening light. He clenched his right fist and punched at Tu. Whoosh! However, Tuahi, who had transformed into his true form, was extremely fast. Even though Reverend GMO flew with all his might, he still couldn't get close to Tuahi. Whoosh! 1 minute passed. Not only did Taoist Master GMO fail to hit Tuahi, but even his clothes were torn by Tuahi's sharp claws. We can't go on like this. While pursuing Tuahi, Taoist Master GMO was secretly thinking of a countermeasure. His blood sacrifice art could only last for 5 minutes. 1 minute had already passed. If he couldn't heavily injure Tuahi in the remaining 4 minutes, the consequences would be unimaginable. Eat my fist. With a cold glint in his eyes, Reverend Chi Mo attacked once more, attacking with all his might. Insignificant skill. The corner of Tuahi's mouth curled up as he easily dodged Tao Master Shinmo's attack. Eat my foot again. Taoist Master Hung Mo shouted and punched out again. Bang! This time, Taoist Master Ji Mo's fist landed on Tuahi's wing and sent him flying. You dare to cheat! Tuahi shouted. All is fair in war. Perfected Devil sneered and said again, Eat my fist! While he was speaking of fists, Reverend GMO was actually moving his right leg. Take my claw! Tuahi was infuriated. He immediately flapped his wings, and a strong gust of wind swept out, blasting towards Tao Master Jimo's head. Whoosh! Taoist Master Ji Mo's figure flashed to the side, barely dodging Tuahi's attack. You've become smarter. Perfected Fiend sneered. Same here, Tuahi replied coldly. In the void, Ningyu was a little stunned when he saw the fight between Tuahi and Perfected Devil. Both of you are peak-level experts, yet you are fighting like children. Senior Yin Shi, when will you make your move? Ningyu knew that Perfected Devil wouldn't be able to hold on for much longer, so he turned around and asked. On the surface, Taoist Master GMO and Tuahi seemed to be equally matched, and he wasn't at an absolute disadvantage. However, Ningyu knew very well that Taoist Master GMO would not be able to hold on for much longer. The blood sacrifice technique he used had a huge impact on his body. It was said that it could last for 5 minutes, but that was not the case. With the rate at which GMO was consuming his blood essence, he would probably be unable to hold on for another 2 minutes. Wait a little longer. I'm looking for an opportunity. Fairy Yin, she's expression was grave. She clenched the 100-flower fan in her hand and said, When I attack later, immediately hide in Giant Shield City. No problem. On the surface, Ningyu agreed to Fairy Yin Shi's request, but in reality, he sent a voice transmission to Berserk Warrior. Listen to my command and prepare to attack at any time. Understood. Quang Zhan nodded. Drip. Time was slipping away. In the blink of an eye, another minute passed. Pucci. In this 1 minute, Taoist Master GMO punched Tuahi twice and kicked him once. He even beat Tuahi until he coughed up blood. Perfected Devil himself was punched thrice and kicked twice by Tuahi, causing his expression to turn a little ugly. Attack! In the next second, Fairy Yin, she gripped her 100-flower fan and charged forward. Not good. As soon as Fairy Yin, she rushed out. Tuahi sensed that something was wrong, discovering some clues. However, Tuahi didn't notice Fairy Yin Shi but Ningyu, who's sneakily hiding in the void. Come out. After forcing Taoist Master GMO back with a move, Tuahi threw a punch at the void where Ningyu was. Swish. In that moment of crisis, Quang Zhan quickly dodged with Ningyu. Fortunately, Quang Zhan was a 9th grade Earth Supreme. Otherwise, Tuahi's punch alone would be enough to send Ningyu to hell. This is my chance. Seeing that Tuahi was distracted, Fairy Yin, she suddenly tore through the void and appeared beside him. Not good. Tuahi, he was indeed a heavenly supreme expert. The moment Fairy Yin she appeared from the void with the 100-flower fan in hand, he already sensed that something was amiss. With no time to think, he immediately retreated. Fairy Yin, she wasn't scary. What was scary was the 100-flower fan in her hand. As a heavenly supreme, he had seen his fair share of treasures. He had heard of treasures like the 100-flower fan, but he had never seen one before. Now that he saw the 100-flower fan, he immediately retreated. Go! Fairy Yin she had endured for so long, waiting for this moment. She activated the 100-flower fan, and a cold light shot out at Tu. Bang! The cold light was so fast that he couldn't even react before he was struck in the chest. Great torrent fist! When he saw Fairy Yin she attack, Taoist GMO forcefully endured the pain that came from his entire body and punched out as well. He was sent flying by the cold light and Taoist Master GMO's fist. His aura became extremely weak. Uft, uft, uft. He's face turned extremely ugly as he spat out several mouthfuls of blood. He was a heavenly supreme, yet he was sneak attacked by a peak 9th grade Earth Supreme. Although the other party had a treasure like the 100-flower fan, he had to take revenge. You've completely angered me. I'll let you know what a true heavenly supreme expert is. He's eyes turned cold as he yelled, Go! Flatten Giant Shield City. Whoosh! As he spoke, the army behind him suddenly moved and attacked Giant Shield City without any regard for their lives. Creak! The gates of Giant Shield City slowly opened, and the army rushed out at this moment. Kill! Protect Giant Shield City with our lives. Kill these traitors and reclaim the 100-Flowers Palace. Kill! 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 Protect our homeland and kill the traitors. Seeing Fairy Yin she appear and fight Tuahi with Taoist Master GMO, the cultivators of Giant Shield City roared with vigor. On the 100-Flower City's side, due to Su Cheng's death and his disciples' death, their morale was very weak. In a battle between armies, vigor was of utmost importance. Although the 100-Flower City's army had an absolute advantage in terms of numbers and cultivation, however, they weren't able to obtain an overwhelming advantage in the battle. On the other hand, the Giant Shield City's side grew braver as they fought and killed dozens of 100-Flower City's cultivators. Screech! In midair, Tuahi raised his head and let out a cry before flapping his wings and attacking Taoist Master GMO. Relatively speaking, Taoist Master GMO was easier to deal with. On one hand, Taoist Master GMO's blood sacrifice art was almost up. On the other hand, Taoist Master GMO did not have a secret treasure like the 100-Flowers fan. Rumble. The battle continued. Because Tuahi's main target was Taoist Master GMO, he was forced to retreat repeatedly and his body was on the verge of collapse. Although Fairy Yin she was also attacking continuously, she seemed to be preparing for something and was not using her full strength. Fairy Yin, she who was not using her full strength, could only display limited combat strength. This day next year will be the anniversary of your death. With a cold gaze, Tuahi swiped at Taoist Master GMO's heart with his sharp claws. Poof! After a period of intense battle, Taoist Master GMO could no longer hold on. The remaining time of the blood sacrifice art was not enough for him to defend against this move. Am I really going to die here today? Taoist Master GMO's eyes dimmed slightly. He had already discussed with Fairy Yin Shi that he would be the main attacker while she would prepare her killing move. Chapter 1426. Chapter 1426. Chapter 1426 Success. Berserker, get ready. In the void, Ningyu had been paying attention to the battle between Tuahi and Taoist GMO. Just as Master GMO was about to be hit, he suddenly appeared out of thin air. Wielding the red demon sword, he slashed out dozens of sword beams. Voila! Each of the sword beams was extremely powerful, and all of them crashed toward Tuahi. Ningyu! It's Ningyu! The moment Ningyu appeared, the Dark Emperor and Janba were overjoyed. Ever since they parted ways with Ningyu, they had been worried about Ningyu. After all, the three-legged golden crow and the black-clothed cultivator were both Earth Supremes. Although the Dark Emperor had said that he had sensed Ningyu's aura just now, but now that he saw Ningyu's real person, he was still excited. Tua, he had already noticed Ningyu. He flapped his wings, and a cold light shot towards Ningyu. Chi-chi! The dozens of sword lights failed to block the cold light that Tua he had unleashed, and they were all destroyed like withered twigs. Block! Ningyu's eyes turned solemn when he saw that the cold light was about to reach him. The 10,000 bone flame in his left hand and the 10,000 beast flame in his right hand fused together and unleashed a terrifying flame attack. Under the impact of this flame, the power of Tuahi's cold light was greatly reduced. Sapling, law of space. Although the power of the cold light had weakened a lot, it was still very difficult for Ningyu to block it. At this critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly communicated with the sapling and the law of space. Kacha! The sapling and the law of space were already bound together with Ningyu. They would definitely not sit back and do nothing. Under their defense, the power of the cold light was greatly reduced. No, I still can't block it. Although Ningyu had brought out his trump cards to withstand the cold radiance, he knew that he couldn't withstand it with his cultivation at the 8th grade sovereign realm. Ascension Pagoda. At the critical moment, Ningyu hurriedly placed the shrunken tower of Yuzuan at his heart and rushed towards the cold light. What happened? What is that 8th grade middle human supreme realm trying to do? Has he lost his mind? Ningyu's actions caused the cultivators from Giant Shield City and 100 Flower City to be slightly stunned. He was a heavenly supreme, so no matter how weak the cold light he had displayed it wasn't something that an 8th grade intermediate human sovereign like you could withstand. Instead of retreating, he actually wanted to take it head on. This was simply. However, just as everyone had this thought, their mouths were slightly agape, and their faces were filled with confusion. Ding! With a crisp sound, Ningyu's body flew out and heavily hit the ground. It was true that he had slammed into the ground, but Ningyu simply stood up, dusted off his butt, and smiled at Tuahi. Is that all a heavenly supreme can do? He's no different from a weakling. I'll take your life later. The fact that Ningyu was able to block the cold light that he unleashed really surprised Tuahi. However, Tuahi's current target was a mortal demon, and he wanted to kill him, not bicker with Ningyu. The might of the cold light that he had executed was limited, and it wasn't even 1/10 of his peak strength. If he had used 2/10 of his strength, he believed that Ningyu definitely wouldn't be able to withstand it. Immortal demon die. Tuahi's sharp claws grabbed towards Immortal Demon's heart. That claw of his was extremely powerful. If a mortal demon was unlucky enough to be caught, he would definitely die. Berserk battle. In a moment of desperation, Ningyu yelled, "Quick! Stop that fool Heavenly Supreme!" Ningyu's roar didn't affect Tuahi. His sharp claws had already arrived at Immortal Demon's heart and ruthlessly clawed down. Crack! Suddenly, the space beside Immortal Demon suddenly split apart and a fist flew towards Tuahi's claws. A crisp sound resounded, and Tuahi immediately flapped his wings and swiftly retreated. What's going on? Who's that beside Immortal Demon? The sudden change caused everyone to be shocked. Who was capable of breaking Tuahi's claws with a single punch? I know, this is all part of your plan. As he retreated, Tuahi yelled. First, he made a move to attract my attention. Then, he resisted my cold light to numb me. Finally, this 9th grade Earth sovereign attacked me. What a good scheme! What a good scheme! It's that brat's scheme? That should be the case. Even Tuahi has said so. Is that brat really that powerful? Tuahi's words had caused everyone's opinion of Ningyu to change. However, Some were optimistic while others weren't. In the giant shield city, some cultivators even held enmity for Ningyu in their hearts. But that's all for later. Go. While Tuahi was retreating, Fairy Yin she had already completed her preparations. She shouted in a low voice and immediately activated the 100 Flowers fan. A cold light shot out. This cold light was extremely powerful, and it was several times stronger than the one that Tuahi had executed. A cold light that can kill a heavenly sovereign. Looking at the cold light that was constantly charging towards Tuahi, Ningyu's face turned grave. Ningyu could sense that if Tuahi was struck by that cold light, even if he didn't die, he would at least lose a layer of skin. Then again, the possibility of Tuahi losing a layer of skin was low. That's because there's a high chance that he would be killed by that cold light. I will remember you guys, and I will return 3 days from now. Tuahi was afraid. He left those words before he forcefully tore space apart and entered. Whoosh! However, the cold light seemed to have locked onto him. The moment he entered, the cold light had already entered. Arg! Not long after, a cry of agony like a pig being slaughtered came from the rift. Boom! Tuahi fell heavily to the ground and vomited a large mouthful of blood. His aura was extremely weak. Whoosh! Fairy Yin she hurriedly landed beside Tuahi after her attack succeeded. Quangjang, Emo, and Yong also landed beside Tuahi and surrounded him. What do you think you're doing? Tuahi was no longer as mighty as before. He coldly said, In order to defeat me, all of you have expended a great deal of energy. Once I recover, all of you will definitely be finished. Slap. Seeing that Tuahi still dared to be so arrogant, Ningyu raised his right foot and kicked him in the face. You still dare to be so stubborn even when death is at hand. Ningyu said, Senior Yin Shi, hand him over to me. I guarantee that he will listen to my scolding. I still have use for him. Fairy Yin, she shook her head. Every time Giant Shield City's formation is opened, it consumes a vast amount of energy. It just so happens that he's a heavenly sovereign. If we use him to open Giant Shield City's formation, it can last for a month. Hearing Fairy Yin Shi's words, Ningyu's face darkened. You want to use a heavenly sovereign to open the formation. However, Tuahi had been defeated by Fairy Yin Shi, so it wasn't convenient for Ningyu to say anything. Fine. Nodding, Ningyu said, You handle it. Chapter 14:27. Bai Qi, a treasure that can hold a person. Ningyu was stunned when he saw Tuahi being sucked in by the 100 Flowers fan. But after thinking about it, Ningyu understood. The 100 Flowers Palace was a force comparable to the Emperor Palace. It was natural for a treasure to be able to hold a person, so there was nothing to be surprised about. Retreat. Just when Ningyu was pondering, a late phase 9th grade Earth sovereign from the 100 Flowers City yelled out. Su Cheng was killed, and Tuahi, a heavenly supreme, was captured. What was the point of fighting? Retreating as soon as possible and returning to the 100 Flowers City to recuperate was the right thing to do. If Fairy Yin Shi and the rest disregarded their status and made a move, who knew how many of them would die? Now was the time to retreat as fast as they could, while Fairy Yin Shi and the rest were careless. Rustle. When the late phase 9th grade Earth Sovereign yelled out, the 100 Flower City's army retreated. There were even cases of trampling, and several cultivators with low cultivations were trampled to death. Escaping was the most important thing, so who could care about that? You could stop, but the moment you did, the people behind you would rush up and trample you to death. Therefore, no one helped those cultivators who were trampled to death. The 100 Flower Cities cultivators attacked ferociously, but they also retreated quickly. After paying the price of dozens of people being trampled to death, the 100 Flower Cities cultivators finally retreated. Dust billowed as the 100-flower city's cultivators fled. Should we chase? Seeing the cultivators of a 100-flower city retreating, a 5th-grade supreme martial artist from the giant shield city asked curiously, "Clean up the battlefield." A 9th-grade Earth sovereign from the giant shield city's army said, "Calculate our casualties and the enemy's casualties. I want to reward them according to their contributions." The 9th-grade Earth sovereign was left to deal with the aftermath. As for Ningyu and the rest, they quietly entered the giant shield city. After entering Giant Shield City, they headed straight for the central hall of Giant Shield City. Because Lu Wei and the rest were there, the entire Giant Shield City was bustling. Some cultivators with low cultivations left the Giant Shield City to clean up the battlefield. After this battle, Giant Shield City had also suffered great losses. Dozens of martial artists had died. The family members of these martial artists had very cold expressions on their faces. There wasn't much sadness on their faces. It was as if they were already used to this kind of thing, but it was also as if they didn't feel sad at all. Recently, Giant Shield City has been attacked many times. Every time many people die. Perhaps seeing the bewilderment in Ningyu's eyes, Taoist Master GMO explained, "Everyone isn't numb. Rather, they've long harbored the resolve to die." Tao Master GMO knew that Quang Zhan had acted on Ningyu's orders, so he was very grateful to Ningyu. It could be said that without Mad Warrior and Ningyu, he would have died today. Looks like the situation is quite grim. Taking a deep breath, Ningyu muttered to himself. Before he came here, Ningyu had already guessed how chaotic the Flower Palace was. Who would have thought that the situation was worse than he had imagined? The forces of Giant Shield City and 100-Flower City weren't on the same level. The reason why 100-Flower City hadn't launched a large-scale attack was entirely because of Fairy Yun Shi. Fairy Yun, she had a supreme treasure like the 100 Flowers fan in her hands. Otherwise, 100-Flower City's high-end combat power would definitely be mobilized in full force. Swish! Before long, Ningyu and the others arrived in front of the most central building of Giant Shield City. Lu Wei and the others are indeed inside. As soon as they stopped, Ningyu sensed the auras of Lu Wei and the others. Lu Wei, revered spirit void, Danguzi, sort of evil, and so on. The martial artists who had parted with him at Transverse Canyon were all here. "Ningyu, I knew you would be fine." Creak! The door was pushed open, and several figures quickly walked out. Among them, a martial artist quickly walked in front of Ningyu, punched Ningyu's chest, and directly gave him a bear hug. The Sword of Evil. This martial artist was none other than the Sword of Evil. "Good fella, you've actually advanced to the mid-8th grade Human Supreme? Did you eat some miraculous elixir?" The Sword of Evil stared at Ningyu, his mouth slightly agape, his face filled with disbelief. How long had it been? Ning, you had actually advanced to the 8th grade Human Supreme. This kind of advancement speed was simply unheard of. "I'm far inferior to you. You've already advanced to the 9th grade Human Supreme." Ning Yu's gaze swept across the Sword of Evil and the others, and he discovered that their cultivations had all improved. The Sword of Evil had advanced to the 9th grade Human Supreme. Revered Spirit Void had advanced to the half-step Earth Supreme Realm, and Danguzi had also advanced to the half-step Earth Supreme Realm. However, the one whose cultivation had improved the most was Lu Wei. Ning, you remembered that she was only a low-level Human Supreme. Now, she had actually transformed into a mid-8th grade Human Supreme. The same cultivation as him. He had gone through all sorts of hardships to advance to the mid-8th grade Human Supreme. But Lu Wei had actually advanced to the mid-8th grade Human Supreme so easily. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself with others. As expected of the purple spirit body, her cultivation speed is astonishing. Ningyu knew that Lu Wei had the purple spirit body, and at the cultivation speed of a purple spirit body was extremely fast. Revered Talisman Marshal and Yun Mu were also very excited to see Ningyu. However, Ningyu noticed that they opened their mouths several times, wanting to say something, but then hesitated and didn't continue speaking. Ningyu furrowed his brows and secretly took note of it. This was because Ningyu discovered that Revered Talisman Marshal and Yun Mu's cultivation had also soared, both reaching the 8th grade human supreme realm. Just what had happened? Could it be that after Palatial Mistress Centauria returned to Giant Shield City, she used a terrifying amount of resources to forcefully raise their cultivation to this level? Let's talk inside. Perfected Demon gave Ningyu and the rest a few minutes, then said, "It's not very convenient here. Let's go." Since Perfected Demon had spoken, Ningyu naturally wouldn't ask here. No matter what, he had to give Perfected Demon some face. The building Ningyu and the rest entered was the city Lord residence. It was extremely huge, and it wouldn't be an exaggeration to describe it as having 9 twists and turns. Looks like something really happened. As they shuttled through the city Lord residence, Ningyu's face gradually turned gloomy. Even though the cultivators in the distance were conversing in low voices, it couldn't escape Ningyu's sharp senses. Behind a fake mountain in the distance, 2 5th-grade human supremacies were conversing. One of the 5th-grade human supremacies with big ears pointed at Ningyu and the rest and said, "Those pieces of trash actually dared to leave Giant Shield Pavilion? Did they eat a bear's heart and leopard's gall?" "No, they didn't eat a bear's heart and leopard's gall. They just went out to pick up a friend called Ningyu, an 8th-grade intermediate human supremacy." The other 5th-grade human supremacy with small ears said, "So what if he's an 8th-grade intermediate human supremacy? He's still going to be beaten up by Bai Chi." The 5th-grade human supremacy with big ears curled his lips and said in disdain, "Bai Chi has already said that as long as they dare to leave Giant Shield Pavilion, he will teach them a lesson. There's going to be a good show this time, but let's not get involved. After all, Bai Chi is the son of the current city lord of Giant Shield City, and the city lord has been sitting in the array core of the supreme killing array to prevent anyone from 100 Flower City from causing trouble." The 5th-grade human supremacy with small ears said, "Clearly, this 5th-grade human supremacy with small ears didn't want to get involved. It's too late. Bai Chi said that between him and those outsiders, we can only choose one." The cultivator with big ears shook his head and said, "In any case, I'll choose Young City, Lord Bai Chi. As for who you choose, I have no right to interfere." As he spoke, the cultivator with big ears walked into the distance, clearly not wanting to be associated with the cultivator with small ears. Chapter 1428. Open Provocation. Although Ningyu was enraged by the conversation between the 2 cultivators, he did not voice it out. Firstly, this was the city lord's mansion of the Giant Shield City, and that Bai Chi was the son of the city lord. From the conversation between the 2 cultivators, Ningyu knew that the city lord of the Giant Shield City was extremely powerful, at least a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth Sovereign. It wasn't wise to clash with Bai Chi without understanding the situation. After sorting out his thoughts, Ningyu maintained a calm expression, as if nothing had happened. Creak! Not long after, Saint Demon brought Ningyu and the rest to the conference hall of the city lord's mansion. "Rest here for a moment. I'll take a look at the palace lord situation." After bringing Ningyu and the rest to the conference hall, Saint Demon left the hall. Along the way, Fairy Yin she had also left, so aside from Kuang Zhan and the rest, there was only the party that left the Great Xia Empire. Kuang Zhan listened to Ningyu's instructions and gradually integrated into the void. Without Ningyu's permission, Kuang Zhan would definitely not make a move. For a brief moment, the atmosphere was a little heavy, with no one speaking. Ningyu casually found a chair and sat down, then closed his eyes to rest his mind. There was no need for Ningyu to ask what had happened. Since Lu Wei and the rest didn't speak, then they naturally had their reasons. What's wrong? Why aren't you speaking? Although Ningyu didn't speak, that didn't mean that the Dark Emperor wouldn't speak. The Dark Emperor had always been a chatterbox, and if he didn't speak for a long time, he would suffocate to death. The Dark Emperor came to Lu Wei and said, "Sister-in-law, tell me, what did you guys experience after we parted in the Transverse Canyon? How did your cultivation reach the 8th grade Earth Sovereign Realm?" Lu Wei rolled her eyes and turned her head away. Clearly, Lu Wei didn't want to speak to the Dark Emperor. Sort of evil, tell us. The Dark Emperor didn't believe it and came to the side of the Sword of Evil. The Sword of Evil's reaction was similar to Lu Wei's. The only difference was that the Sword of Evil opened his mouth and wanted to say something. However, when he saw Lu Wei shake her head slightly, he chose to shut his mouth. "Ningyu, it's good that you're fine. We still have some matters to attend to, so we'll get going first." Talisman Supremacy and Yunmu, who were at the side, saw everything. They stood up and bid farewell to Ningyu before swiftly walking towards the main entrance of the hall. Dong! 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 Ningyu opened his eyes slowly when he saw that Supremacy Martial Talisman and the rest were about to leave. His right hand was gently tapping on the chair. "Why are you leaving so quickly? Shouldn't we have a good chat after reuniting after such a long time?" Ningyu opened his mouth and said lightly, "Sit down, let's have a good chat." Hearing Ningyu's indifferent words, Supremacy Martial Talisman and Yun Mu stopped in front of the main entrance of the hall with an awkward expression on their faces. "Ningyu, we really have urgent matters to attend to." Supremacy Martial Talisman braced himself and said, "Also, this is Giant Shield City, and Giant Shield Pavilion is the residence that the City Lord Residence has arranged for you. If you really don't have anything important to attend to, you should return to Giant Shield City first and wait." "What kind of place is Giant Shield Pavilion?" Ningyu frowned and pretended not to know. "Giant Shield Pavilion is—" Supremacy Martial Talisman had no choice but to bite the bullet and say, "All right, you guys can leave first." At this moment, Lu Wei waved her hand and interrupted Supremacy Martial Talisman, saying, "There's nothing for you guys to do here." "Thank you." Lu Wei's words were like heavenly music to Supremacy Martial Talisman and Yun Mu's ears. They did not even turn their heads and quickly left the hall, disappearing in the blink of an eye. How troublesome! Since Lu Wei asked them to leave, Ningyu naturally had no reason to stop them. He leaned back on the chair and rubbed his eyes, saying, "If you guys don't want to tell me, I won't force you." Ningyu knew very well that Lu Wei and the rest definitely had their difficulties for not telling him. Therefore, Ningyu did not make things difficult for them and waited quietly. Since that, Bai Qi said that he would not let Lu Wei and the rest leave Giant Shield Pavilion. It meant that he would definitely come to this assembly hall. He would not go anywhere. He would definitely be able to wait for Bai Qi. "I want to see who exactly Bai Qi is." Ningyu closed his eyes again and did not continue speaking. The atmosphere was very heavy. Drip, drip. Time continued to pass, and the entire hall was abnormally quiet. No one spoke. Even the Dark Emperor, who was usually the most active, became a little quiet at this time. It seemed like the Dark Emperor smelled something. Swoosh! About 10 minutes later, a group of 3 cultivators swaggered into the assembly hall. Ningyu looked over and was slightly surprised. The cultivation of these 3 cultivators had reached the 9th grade human supreme realm. Among them, there were 2 late 9th grade human supreme realm and 1 peak 9th grade human supreme realm. After entering the assembly hall, one of the late 9th grade human supreme realm said proudly, "Lu Wei, what do you think? Our young city lord said that as long as you agree to be his concubine, he will not make things difficult for you guys anymore. He will even give you a lot of cultivation resources so that you can quickly advance to the Earth Supreme Realm." Hee hee, why are you talking nonsense with her? The young city lord said that we will first kidnap her and hold the concubine ceremony today. The other late-stage, ninth-grade supreme martial artist laughed sinisterly and said, "This time 100 Flower City has suffered heavy losses. They won't be attacking Giant Shield City for a while, so the city lord has already left the supreme killing formation. With the city lord supporting us, who do we have to be afraid of? Don't underestimate the enemy." The peak ninth-grade human supreme realm said solemnly, "After all, Lu Wei and the rest have a good relationship with the palace lord. We shouldn't go overboard. We have to seek Lu Wei's opinion on everything." "Don't worry. I have already sought Lu Wei's opinion. She said that there is no problem and that she is willing to be the young city lord's concubine." The late ninth-grade human supreme realm, who spoke, first patted his chest and guaranteed, "Since there is no problem, you guys go first and take Lu Wei away." The peak ninth-grade human supreme realm nodded his head in satisfaction. "Remember, don't use force. Don't let them get anything on you." The three cultivators chatted and did not put Ningyu and the rest in their eyes. Russell. It was so much so that one of the late-phase ninth-grade sovereign even looked at Ningyu with a provocative gaze before walking towards Lu Swan. As he moved forward, the late ninth-grade human supreme realm unleashed his aura and pressed down on Lu Wei, making it impossible for Lu Wei to move. Sage Spiritual Su Danguzi. Ning Yu did not make a move immediately. He turned his gaze towards Sage Spiritual Su and Danguzi. Logically speaking, the two of them were half-step Earth sovereigns. They should not have been able to tolerate someone openly provoking Lu Wei. But now they were indifferent and did not even have the slightest intention of making a move. "There's a problem." Seeing this, Ning Yu's brows furrowed. He vaguely felt that something was amiss. His soul power surged, and Ning Yu used it to secretly enter Sage, Spiritual Su, and Dan Guzi's bodies. Hiss! Chapter 1429. White Powder. Sage, Spiritual Su, and Dan Guzi's condition could no longer be described as bad. Extremely bad. No wonder they had no intention of making a move. Given the condition of their bodies, it was already not easy for them to hold on until now, let alone forcibly making a move. It could be said that if Sage, Spiritual Su, and Dan Guzi dared to make a move, their bodies would explode in the next instant. They couldn't circulate their yuan qi, not even a tiny bit. Ning Yu's soul power swept across the sword of evil and the others' bodies. Then, Ning Yu was completely enraged. Apart from Sage Spiritual Su and Dan Guzi, even the sword of evil and Lu Wei's bodies were a mess. "Have you all forgotten that I'm here?" Taking a deep breath, Ning Yu looked at the peak ninth-grade human sovereign. "Attacking my friend in front of me, isn't that a little too much?" "Did you all hear that? He actually said that to me." The peak ninth-grade human sovereign's face was full of shock. Then he pretended to be terrified. "I'm so scared. Will he kill me?" "I don't think so. You'd better hurry and run." The late-stage ninth-grade human sovereign who was walking towards Lu Wei stopped and said solemnly, "That's right, you can still make it if you run now." The other late-stage ninth-grade human sovereign also said, "Ha ha ha." However, as soon as they finished speaking, they couldn't help but laugh out loud. "It's funny, isn't it?" Ning Yu's eyes shone with a frightening light. Then he stomped on the ground and shot forward. "Since you want to die, then don't blame me." Seeing Ning Yu charging towards him, the peak ninth-grade human sovereign said coldly, "I'll leave something in your body first." As he spoke, the pinnacle ninth-grade sovereign took out a bottle of white powder and threw it towards Ning Yu. "As long as you swallow this, you won't dare to use your yuan qi so easily." The ninth-grade peak human supreme martial artist was very confident. In his view, how capable could a mere eighth-grade human sovereign like Ning Yu be? If he wanted to make Ningyu swallow the white powder, it would be a piece of cake. Just right. Ningyu raised his right hand and firmly grasped the jade bottle containing the white powder. Kacha! As soon as Ningyu grabbed the jade bottle, it suddenly cracked open. The white powder rushed into Ningyu's body. Be careful! Seeing the jade bottle shatter, Lu Wei and the others' expressions changed greatly, and they hurriedly cried out, I'm fine. Ningyu turned around and smiled at Lu Wei and the others, then waved his hands. A mantis trying to stop a chariot! Ningyu's actions made the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme twitch his mouth. He said in disdain, I thought you were strong, but it turns out that you're just a fool. Silver spear wax head. Is that so? A sinister smile appeared on Ningyu's lips. Then he gathered all the white powder into a narrow space. Next, Ningyu suddenly pushed his hands forward. Whoosh! The white powder turned into an afterimage and charged towards the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist at a shocking speed. Not good. The sudden change caused the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist expression to change greatly. He knew exactly what the white powder was. If he was unlucky enough to come in contact with it, he would definitely end up like Lu Wei and the others. There's nothing bad about it. The speed of the white powder was fast, but Ningyu was even faster. He tore through the void and arrived before the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist in the blink of an eye. His right hand clenched into a fist, and with a violent Yuan Qi gale, he punched towards the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist's chest. Bang! Ah! A crisp sound came from the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist, accompanied by a pig-like shriek. You! Ningyu's fist had caused the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist to panic, allowing the white powder to enter his body. The 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist was dumbfounded. No one knew the terror of the white powder better than him. Antidote. He had to get the antidote from Bai Qi. Without the antidote, every second that passed would cause more damage to his body. Without leaving behind any harsh words, the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist left the palace without stopping. Because he couldn't use his Yuan Qi after coming in contact with the white powder, the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist could only leave on foot. Did I allow you to leave? Ningyu's figure flashed and came to the front of the palace. If you don't want to die, then go back and wait. You know my identity? I'm the young city lord. The 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist roared, trying to scare Ningyu away. However, halfway through his words, he spat out a mouthful of blood. His body was like a kite with a broken string as he fell heavily into the palace. I don't care who you are, but before I allow you to leave, you'd better stay here obediently. Ningyu's face was ugly. The condition of Lu Wei and Venerable Spiritual Su's bodies was terrible to the extreme. If this wasn't the city lord's mansion of Giant Shield City, Ning, you would have already started a massacre. What do you want? Seeing how easily Ningyu defeated the 9th grade pinnacle human supreme martial artist, the other 2 late-stage 9th grade martial artists revealed a terrified expression as they forced themselves to calm down. We don't have any ill intentions. We just want Lu Wei to become the young city lord's concubine. The young city lord is a peerless genius that only appears once in 1,000 years. If Lu Wei were to follow him, she would definitely enjoy a luxurious life. Crack! Crack! Ning, you couldn't be bothered to waste his breath on this late-stage 9th grade martial artist. He charged out quickly and kicked the late-stage 9th grade martial artist's knees, causing him to kneel on the ground. Dark Emperor, you know what to do. After sealing the late-stage 9th grade martial artist's consciousness, Ningyu said to the Dark Emperor, as long as you don't die, you can do anything. Understood. The Dark Emperor had been waiting for this moment. On one hand, he was amazed by Ningyu's strength. On the other hand, he was sighing at his own weakness. Now that the opportunity had come, Ningyu had given him face by finding a late-stage 9th grade martial artist for him to devour. Since Ningyu thought so highly of him, the Dark Emperor naturally wouldn't disappoint Ningyu. "What do you want?" Looking at the black dog that was approaching him, the late-stage 9th grade martial artist asked in fear. "You'll know in a moment." The Dark Emperor raised his front paw and placed it directly on the late-stage 9th grade martial artist's forehead. Chi-chi. In the next instant, strands of yuan qi gushed out of the late-stage 9th grade martial artist's head and entered the Dark Emperor's body. Crack, crack. The Dark Emperor's cultivation, which had been stagnant for a long time, started to loosen at this moment. "Not bad. After devouring you, I should be able to advance to the late-stage 6th grade martial artist." The Dark Emperor was very satisfied. He was already a late-stage 5th grade martial artist and was only a step away from the late-stage 6th grade martial artist. Furthermore, as his cultivation increased, the Dark Emperor's inherited memories increased. Chapter 1430. Purge the Dark Emperor's actions caused the other late-phase 9th grade sovereign's mouth to twitch as his heart sank to the bottom. A pinnacle 9th grade sovereign was defeated by Ningyu, and that black dog devoured another late-phase 9th grade sovereign. He could predict that his fate would be miserable. "You can leave now." However, Ningyu's next words left him dumbfounded. He never expected that Ningyu would actually let him leave. "Can I go now?" The 9th grade late-stage human supreme master pointed at his nose and asked in confusion, "Go and call that by Qi over and bring the antidote along the way." Ningyu waved his hand and said, "If I don't see the antidote in 10 minutes, their fates will be miserable." Swish! Hearing Ningyu's words, the late-phase 9th grade sovereign felt as if he had been granted amnesty and immediately left the hall. If he didn't leave now, when would he? 3 steps turned into 2 steps, and the 9th grade late-stage human supreme martial artist left without looking back. "Ningyu, you're letting him go just like that?" Seeing the late-phase 9th grade sovereign leave, the Dark Emperor's face was filled with regret. "What else can I do?" Ningyu asked. "Leave it for me to devour, of course." How stupid. The Dark Emperor looked at Ningyu as if he was looking at an idiot. Ningyu's face was filled with black lines. "It's already good enough for a late-phase 9th grade sovereign to devour, but you're asking for a mile after taking an inch? Forget it. I won't lower myself to your level. You're only a 5th grade sovereign anyway, the weakest in the hall. I have a good moral character, and I'm good at taking care of the weak and the elderly." If the Dark Emperor knew what Ningyu was thinking, he would definitely be furious and have a good talk with Ningyu. Ningyu, Bai Qi is not simple. Since Ningyu had completely fallen out with Bai Qi, Lu Wei no longer remained silent. After a brief pondering, she said, "Rumor has it that Bai Qi's cultivation should be at 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. You've never even seen Bai Qi's face?" Ningyu was taken aback and asked doubtfully. Shaking her head, Lu Wei said, "Bai Qi is the young city, lord of Giant Shield City. He is usually cultivating and rarely appears." "Then how did you offend him?" Ningyu asked again. "A few days ago, we came to Giant Shield City with Palatial Lord Centauria. At that time, Palatial Lord Centauria took out all the treasures she had left in Giant Shield City and handed them to us for safekeeping." As she spoke, Lu Wei took out a storage bag from her bosom and tossed it to Ningyu. "Pa!" After receiving the storage bag, Ningyu split out a bit of his perception to probe it. Unfortunately, there was a powerful restriction on the storage bag that he couldn't break with his current strength. Originally, there wasn't a restriction on the storage bag. The restriction was placed by a 9th grade Earth Sovereign Lu Wei explained, and that ninth grade Earth Sovereign is Bai Chi's third uncle. Where is Palatial Lord Centauria right now? Ning Yu asked with his brows tightly knitted. Palatial Lord Centauria is in seclusion. She seems to be preparing to refine the soul-luring pill, Lu Wei said. Although the soul-luring pill is an 8th grade elixir, it's extremely difficult to refine. Ning Yu frowned. He felt that Palatial Lord Centauria might be a little too impatient. Perhaps Palatial Lord Centauria had found an alchemist who could refine the soul-luring pill and wanted to exclude him? The more he thought about it, the more Ning Yu felt that it was possible. Otherwise, perfected devil and fairy yin, she wouldn't have treated him with such an attitude. He had been in the conference hall for more than 10 minutes, but not a single one of them had appeared. There was definitely something fishy going on. Ning Yu made up his mind. As long as something was amiss, he would hide in the Tower of Ascension immediately. Relax your minds first. Let me see if I can expel the white powder from your bodies. Taking a deep breath, Ning Yu said, Buzz. Next, Ning Yu released his soul power and entered Lu Wei's body to expel the white powder. Chi. However, the moment Ning Yu's soul power came into contact with the white powder, his expression changed and he hurriedly tried to retract his soul power. However, Ning Yu's actions were clearly slower by half a beat. When his soul power came into contact with the white powder, it was immediately devoured and disappeared without a trace. It's useless. Lu Wei shook her head. Don't waste your energy. Recently, Talisman Supremacy and Yun Mu have also tried to expel the white powder for us. The result is the same as yours. Their soul power has been greatly depleted, but the white powder in our bodies hasn't decreased at all. Wait first. With a solemn expression, Ning Yu closed his eyes and sent his soul power into the Tower of Ascension. On the 8th floor of the Tower of Ascension. Grandmaster Xingyan, how's your recovery? Ning Yu asked as he looked at Grandmaster Xingyan, who was sitting cross-legged in front of him. Opening his eyes, Grandmaster Xingyan replied, I've recovered by about 50%. I believe I'll be back to my peak in another 3 to 4 days. I'm here to ask for a favor. Ning Yu did not beat around the bush and went straight to the point. Those outside are my friends. There's a white powder in their bodies that I can't expel with my current soul power. I want to ask for your help. When that pinnacle 9th grade human sovereign threw out the white powder, I noticed it. Grandmaster Xingyan said, that white powder is called white bone demonic powder. It's an extremely poisonous powder. With your current pinnacle 8th grade soul power, it's indeed impossible to expel it. How about this? I'll lend you a few soul dawn. Give them to your friends, and they should be able to recover quickly. As he spoke, Grandmaster Xingyan's soul power surged and separated a few soul dawn, handing them over to Ning Yu. Grandmaster Xingyan's soul power was at the level of liquid into Dan. Giving a few soul dawn to Ning Yu did not affect him much. Thank you. After receiving the soul dawn, Ning Yu left the Tower of Ascension. Take them. Ning Yu gave the soul dawn to Lu Wei and the rest, and warned them to take them immediately. Although they were suspicious, Lu Wei and the rest did not hesitate and swallowed the soul dawn. Sizzle! As the soul dawn entered their stomachs, Lu Wei and the rest began to emit white gas. Done? The white gas quickly dissipated and Lu Wei and the rest opened their mouths in disbelief. They understood the situation in their bodies very well. The white powder was extremely terrifying. Ordinary things could not expel it. Once they came into contact with it, they would be devoured. Just what did Ning Yu give them? How could it resist the white powder? Could it be soul dawn? Just because Lu Wei and the rest didn't know didn't mean Dan Guzi didn't. Dan Guzi was a pinnacle 9th grade alchemist. Although he had never seen a soul dawn before, he could sense the terrifying soul power fluctuations coming from them. You. Chapter 1431. Chapter 1431. Chapter 1431 Baiguang, Who dares to hurt my people? You'd better step out obediently. Otherwise, I'll definitely break you. The leader was a young man donned in black clothes. His gaze swept past Ningyu and the rest before stopping on the late phase, ninth-grade sovereign beside the Dark Emperor. The black-robed man's voice came to an abrupt halt when he saw the miserable state of the late ninth-grade sovereign. Kaka! Although the man in black did not speak, his fists were clenched so tightly that they made cracking sounds. Everyone in Giant Shield City knew that the ninth-grade advanced human supreme martial artist was his man. Now, it was being stepped on by a black dog. If word of this got out, how could he keep a foothold in Giant Shield City? Today, I want to eat dog meat. Taking a deep breath, the black-clothed man stared the Dark Emperor and said in a deep voice, "Go find me a pot. I'll stew it alive here." The black-clothed man was furious. If he did not kill the Dark Emperor, it would not be enough to resolve the hatred in his heart. "Sha-sha!" Hearing the black-clothed man's words, the martial artists behind him actually turned around and left, following his instructions to find the scapegoat. Although it looked very arrogant, everyone in the palace knew that the black-clothed man had the right to be arrogant. The black-robed man was not a human sovereign, but an Earth sovereign, a peak first-grade Earth sovereign. In Giant Shield City, his cultivation could be ranked in the top 5 among martial artists of his age. "Damn dog! Hurry up and get over here." The man in black did not target Ningyu. Instead, he targeted the Dark Emperor. Because the black-clothed man couldn't see through Ningyu's strength, he had to first probe Ningyu's strength to prevent himself from failing miserably. "Kacha!" The Dark Emperor didn't seem to hear the black-robed man's words. He exerted some force with his claws and stomped on the chest of the late-stage, ninth-grade human supreme. With a crisp sound, a few more ribs of the late-stage, ninth-grade human supreme broke. The Dark Emperor's action caused the man in black to be unable to endure it any longer. He waved his hand and said, "Go, take down that stupid dog for me." Whoosh! Whoosh! In the next moment, 2 figures suddenly appeared beside the black-clothed man. The 2 cultivators were both pinnacle ninth-grade human sovereigns. The black-robed man had already determined that the Dark Emperor was an ordinary 5th-grade supreme martial artist. In his opinion, sending 2 peak 9th-grade sovereign stage human venerables would be a foolproof plan. Swoosh! The Dark Emperor stood on the spot without moving, and 2 figures suddenly appeared beside him. Revered Spirit Void, Danguzi. The sudden change had caused the 2 pinnacle 9th-grade sovereigns to stop. They knew that Supremacy Spirit Void and Danguzi had consumed white bone devil powder and couldn't use their energy. If they insisted on attacking, then Danguzi and Spirit Void would very likely die. Now that the Centauria Palatial Mistress's intentions were not very clear, they did not dare to kill anyone. Thus, they turned their heads, wanting to ask the man in black for his opinion. Heavily injured, the man in black thought for a moment and said, "But that black dog must be captured alive." Roger that. Since the black-clothed man had spoken, the 2 pinnacle 9th-grade sovereigns had already made a decision in their hearts. They looked at each other, then one charged towards the Dark Emperor, while the other charged towards Supremacy Spirit Void and Danguzi. On the side, Ningyu had his arms crossed as he watched with interest. He had even started conversing with Zhanba. Supremacy Spirit Void and Danguzi had already consumed the soul pellets, and the white bone devil powder had been completely expelled from their bodies. With their current battle prowess at the half-step Earth Sovereign stage, 2 mere 9th-grade sovereigns were not their opponents. Pretending to be calm, the black-clothed man was stunned when he saw Ningyu's actions before the corner of his lips rose into an arc. "I'll see what else you can do later." Just at this moment, the situation suddenly changed. The black-clothed man's words came to an abrupt halt as he revealed an extremely shocked expression. Weren't Supremacy Spirit Void and the rest poisoned by the white bone devil powder? How could they still have such powerful battle prowess? Can't even withstand a single blow. Supremacy Spirit Void casually kicked a peak ninth grade sovereign away and shrugged. In the future, don't let small fries like them come out and embarrass themselves. Sigh, I haven't even used my strength yet. How could it be over already? Dan Guzzi also sighed humorously. In truth, with Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzzi's characters, they definitely wouldn't have said such words in the past. Most importantly, they had been ridiculed so many times in this period of time that they had already accumulated a lot of anger in their hearts. Now that they had a chance to mock them back, they definitely wouldn't miss it. Ah. The black-clothed man's surprise wasn't over yet. The Dark Emperor raised his front claw and swung it down heavily. Without a doubt, the two peak ninth-grade sovereigns had also become the Dark Emperor's captives. Many thanks, the two of you. I'll treat you to a feast later. The Dark Emperor winked at Venerable Spirit, Sue, and Dan Guzzi. With these two great meals, it's a matter of time before I reach the 6th grade human sovereign realm. No problem. I think you have a chance to advance to the 7th grade sovereign stage today. Supremacy Spirit Void waved his hand, his gaze sweeping across the cultivators behind the black-clothed man. Russell. Being stared at by Supremacy Spirit Void, the cultivators behind the black-clothed man all took a few steps back, not daring to look straight at him. Among them, the strongest was a half-step Earth Sovereign. But with the state that Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzzi had displayed just now, ordinary half-step Earth Sovereigns weren't their match. Unless the black-clothed man personally faced off against Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzzi. Even if they went all out, they still wouldn't be a match for Supremacy Spirit Void and Dan Guzzi. What do you mean by that? The black-clothed man's face darkened. This is the city lord's mansion. It's not a place for you to behave atrociously. All right, stop acting atrociously. At this moment, Ningyu took a step forward and said, Leave the antidote, and you can scram. Antidote? What antidote? The black-clothed man was confused. The antidote for the white bone demonic powder, of course. Didn't you bring it? Ningyu frowned. You actually know about the white bone demonic powder. The black-clothed man was shocked. Ning, you actually knew about the white bone demonic powder. Their city lord's mansion had no way to develop the white bone demonic powder. Their white bone demonic powder had to be purchased from the 100-Flower City. Even in the city lord's mansion, aside from a few higher-ups, no one else knew about the white bone demonic powder. Now that Ningyu knew about it, how could the black-clothed man not be shocked? What's there to be surprised about? Ningyu curled his lips. Hand over the antidote, and I can consider letting you leave. Otherwise, you should know the consequences. Humph. They want me to know the consequences? The black-clothed man snorted coldly and said arrogantly, Do you know who I am? I'm Bai Guang, the son of the current city, lord of Giant Shield City. If you dare to touch me, I'll make sure you die a tragic death. All right. Chapter 1432. Chapter 1432. Chapter 1432. Trouble comes knocking. You are not Bai Qi? Ning, you did not notice the first half of Bai Guang's sentence. Similarly, Ning, you did not notice the latter half of the sentence. Ning Yu's attention was focused on Bai Guangzhong's words. What? You're called Bai Guang? In the end, you're not Bai Qi? Then why are you talking nonsense with me here? Ning Yu was furious, extremely furious. His original intention was to let Bai Qi come over. Who would have thought that Bai Guang actually came? Bai Guang then, but you have to be a little more humble, right? A mere pinnacle, first-grade Earth sovereign actually dared to be arrogant in front of an 8th-grade intermediate human sovereign like him. Fine, a pinnacle, first-grade Earth sovereign was indeed qualified to be arrogant in front of an 8th-grade intermediate human sovereign. Very well, you are indeed very arrogant." Seeing Ningyu's expression, Bai Guang's expression was very ugly. No matter what, he was still a peak first-grade Earth Supreme. This was intolerable. Am I arrogant? I've never said that I'm arrogant. It's just everyone's praise. Ningyu shrugged and said, "You can't do it. It's better to get someone stronger to come over so that you won't be beaten to the point of crying for your parents. You're courting death." Being sarcastically mocked by Ningyu like this, Bai Guang could not endure it anymore. With a loud shout, he dashed toward Ningyu in a flash. Seeing Bai Guang charge out, Sage Spirit Su and Dan Guzi moved, wanting to block Bai Guang for Ningyu. No need, but just when they wanted to move, Ningyu waved his hand. "I can even withstand the attack of a heavenly sovereign, so a mere first-grade Earth sovereign is nothing to me." Puff! Upon hearing Xiao Chen's words, the cultivators that Bai Guang brought all mocked him. In their opinion, the move that Tua he had used outside Giant Shield City was at most 100th or even 1,000th of his peak strength. Ningyu did block that move, but he was also beaten to the point of vomiting blood. How dare he look down on Bai Guang with such strength? I'll show you later. At this moment, not only did Bai Guang's cultivators have such thoughts, even Sage Spirit Su and the rest weren't sure. They knew that Ningyu was powerful, but none of them had any confidence in dealing with a first-grade Earth Supreme. "Ningyu, this is Giant Shield City. If you're a dragon, you'd better lie down. If you're a snake, you'd better!" Bai Guang roared when he saw that he was about to reach Ningyu. Ningyu responded to Bai Guang with 2 words of disdain. When these 2 words came out of his mouth, Ningyu clenched his right fist and unavoidably collided with Bai Guang's fist. Ningyu was a middle-grade 8 human sovereign, while Bai Guang was a peak grade 1 Earth Supreme. Almost no one was optimistic about Ningyu's chances of winning. Crack! However, what happened next left everyone shocked. Bai Guang flew out a few feet and heavily slammed against the wall of the palace. Poof! First, the bones on his fist broke. Then Bai Guang vomited a mouthful of blood. His face was pale without any color. One move, just one move, and a pinnacle first-grade Earth Sovereign was easily defeated. Not to mention everyone. Even Bai Guang himself did not expect this. Poof! After defeating Bai Guang with a single move, Ningyu did not continue attacking. Instead, he casually found a chair and sat down, then clapped his hands and said indifferently, "Go call Bai Qi over. I'll give all of you 10 minutes. Bai, Young City, Lord Bai is currently in seclusion, and he can't come over." Ningyu's indifferent expression made them even more nervous. Fiend. Ningyu was definitely a fiend. He was able to defeat a pinnacle first-grade Earth Supreme with the cultivation of a middle-grade 8th-grade Earth Supreme. It was truly infuriating to compare oneself with others. "You can't come over?" Ningyu's brows twitched as he walked towards Bai Guang. Ningyu's speed was neither fast nor slow. Roughly 30 seconds later, he had arrived before Bai Guang. Slightly tidying up the clothes on his right leg, Ningyu abruptly raised his right leg and heavily stomped on Bai Guang's knee. Crack! Arg! 2 silhouettes rang out. One was from his knee, while the other was from Bai Guang himself. "Is there any way to come over in 10 minutes? Ningyu faintly asked after stomping on Bai Guang's knee. This time the few cultivators that Bai Guang brought along were silent. The reason why they were silent wasn't because they had a way to invite Bai Qi over, but they were afraid that Ningyu would do something crazy again. Ningyu did not hold back, and if he crippled Bai Guang, Bai Qi would definitely not let them off. "What? Is there a problem?" Ningyu knitted his brows as he raised his right leg and was about to stomp down. "No problem. We'll look for the Young City, Lord now." Seeing Ningyu's actions, the few cultivators that Bai Guang brought along panicked. They immediately nodded their heads and strode out of the palace. If they stayed any longer, Bai Guang would definitely be finished. "Ningyu, you're letting them go just like that? Aren't you afraid that they'll bring a few high-rank Earth sovereigns over? Seeing the few cultivators leaving, Lu Wei slightly knitted her brows. Truth be told, Lu Wei was extremely shocked that Ning Yu could defeat Bai Guang in a single move. She possessed the purple spirit physique, so her fighting strength was extremely powerful. But even so, it would be extremely difficult for her to defeat a quasi-Earth sovereign with her cultivation at middle phase 8th grade sovereign, not to mention a first-grade Earth sovereign. The fact that Ning Yu could defeat a first-grade Earth sovereign had truly shocked Lu Wei. But despite being shocked, Lu Wei was still worried. Now that Ning Yu had let those cultivators go, she believed that the experts of the city, Lord's Mansion, would definitely rush over in a few minutes. High-rank Earth Sovereign. Ning Yu did not directly answer Lu Wei's question, but waved his hand. Senior Quang Zhan, are you all right? I'm fine. Quang Zhan's robust voice resounded in the palace. When Quang Zhan's voice resounded, Lu Wei and the rest instantly understood. How could they have forgotten about Quang Zhan? Quang Zhan was a high-rank Earth sovereign, not to mention that he was also a ferocious figure. Unless the other party invited the current city lord, anyone would have to think twice before coming. All right, there's nothing else for you to do. Ning Yu waved his hand. Buzz! Buzz! Space trembled before it returned to its calm state. Crack! The space in the palace returned to its calm state, but the space outside the palace was no longer calm. How is it that 9th grade Earth sovereign has appeared? How confident are we in controlling him? Outside the palace, in the void, the three martial artists' faces were extremely solemn. One of the older cultivators said in a solemn voice, "The city lord has received the latest news. The Yuzu Pagoda is with Ning Yu. No matter what, we must bring Ning Yu to his residence." Bring him to his residence? Didn't he say that we should seize the Yuzu Pagoda? Another cultivator asked in doubt. The situation has changed. The older martial artist shook his head and said, Chapter 1433. White River. How can we let them deal with it themselves? That kid Ning Yu is too formidable. Even Bai Guang was easily defeated. Besides Bai Qi, who else in the same generation is a match for him? Another cultivator said, Bai Qi just went into secluded cultivation not long ago. If he could come out, he would definitely be able to reach the 3rd grade Earth Sovereign Realm. It's impossible for him to come out at this time. Bai Qi will definitely come out of seclusion within half an hour. The older martial artist said, Half an hour? Are you kidding me? Could it be that Bai Qi didn't want to break through? No. You're saying that Bai Qi only needs half an hour to reach the 3rd grade Earth Sovereign Realm? Halfway through his sentence, the cultivator seemed to have thought of something. His eyes widened in surprise. Yes, our mission is to stall Ning Yu for half an hour. After half an hour, Bai Qi will naturally come out to deal with him. The older martial artist nodded. If someone were to see these 3 martial artists, they would definitely be shocked. There were 3 famous 9th grade Earth sovereigns in the giant shield city, Lord's faction. Bai Feng, Bai Yu, Bai He, the 3 swordsmen of giant shield city. The 3 of them were initial 9th grade Earth sovereigns. Although their cultivations were only at the initial phase 9th grade Earth sovereign realm, the 3 of them could confront a late phase 9th grade Earth sovereign together. The 3 swordsmen of Giant Shield City were not just for show. Of course, Ning Yu did not know about the 3 swordsmen of Giant Shield City. At this moment, he was sitting on a chair in the main hall, his fingers tapping on the table nonstop. Dong, dong, dong. The crisp sound continued to ring out, as if there was a rhythm. Since Ning Yu did not speak, no one in the hall spoke. Especially Bai Guang, his face had turned green. Originally, he had come in a rage to denounce them. But now, not only did he fail to denounce them, he had become a prisoner. Next time, don't look for me if there's something like this. If Bai Qi was here, Bai Guang would probably give him a good scolding right away. It's been 5 minutes. Why isn't Bai Qi here yet? In the blink of an eye, 5 minutes had passed. Ning, you looked at the main hall's main entrance and said doubtfully, could it be that Bai Guang and Bai Qi's relationship isn't good? Or perhaps Bai Guang is the illegitimate son of the city governor of gigantic Shield City. Puff! Hearing Ningyu's words, the Dark Emperor laughed out loud. Hey, Ningyu, aren't you being too unkind? Even if you know he's an illegitimate child, you can't expose his shortcomings. The Dark Emperor sighed. The first half of the sentence was already hurtful enough. The second half was even more hurtful. We still don't know much about the affairs of the noble circle. The Dark Emperor and Ningyu echoed each other, making Bai Guang's face turn green. He forcefully swallowed the blood in his throat. Did I dig up your ancestral grave? You're actually trying so hard to insult me. Dark Emperor, go and entertain Bai Guang well and urge him. Ningyu said to the Dark Emperor. All right, I'm the best at this kind of thing. The Dark Emperor kicked away the peak grade 9 human supreme that he had sucked dry and walked towards Bai Guang step by step. After a few minutes of devouring and refining, the Dark Emperor had made huge improvements. His cultivation had also silently advanced from grade 5 human supreme to grade 6 human supreme. Looking at the big black dog that was approaching him, Bai Guang's body trembled. At this moment, he was finally afraid. This black dog wouldn't come to devour me, right? What do you want? Bai Guang pretended to be calm and said in a deep voice, Nothing. I just wanted to come over and have a chat with you. The Dark Emperor shrugged, then raised his front paw and kicked Bai Guang's chest. Kacha! His ribs were broken. From now on, every minute that passes, I'll break one of your ribs. After breaking Bai Guang's ribs, the Dark Emperor looked for a chair and jumped onto it, closing his eyes to rest. Kiki! The Dark Emperor's actions made Bai Guang grind his teeth in anger. Are we going or not? In the void outside the hall, Bai Feng saw that Bai Guang's ribs were broken and asked anxiously, Let's wait a little longer. But he was the oldest and the calmest. At this moment, he couldn't screw up, as long as he could drag it out for half an hour. So what if Bai Guang broke a few ribs? Moreover, when one's cultivation was at the Earth Supreme level, breaking a few ribs was nothing. All right. Since Bai He had spoken, Bai Feng didn't say anything else. However, he secretly made up his mind that as long as he had the chance, he would definitely teach that black dog a lesson. Drip. Time passed. In the blink of an eye, a minute passed. Kacha! The Dark Emperor did what he said. He raised his front paw and broke another rib of Bai Guang, but he didn't say anything. Another minute passed. Kacha! The Dark Emperor kicked out again and broke another rib of Bai Guang. Bai He still didn't say anything. Another minute passed. Kacha! Again. Bai He's face turned ugly, from red to black, then white. Kacha! Kacha! On the 4th minute, the Dark Emperor decisively broke 2 of Bai Guang's ribs. Either way, there was still the last minute left. Regarding Bai Qi's appearance, the Dark Emperor didn't hold much hope anymore. Are we going or not? In the void outside the hall, Bai Feng and Bai Yu both clenched their fists, extremely furious. At this rate, Bai Guang would definitely suffer heavy injuries. After all, with Ningyu and that black dog's character, they would definitely not let Bai Guang have it easy. And the reason why Bai Guang would come over to find trouble with Ningyu was entirely because they faked the imperial edict, making Bai Guang mistakenly think that it was Bai Qi's request. We must make a move. After all, Bai Guang's injuries this time were entirely because of us. Bai Yu also concurred. You guys hide here first. I'll go first. Bai He's expression was extremely solemn. When the Dark Emperor wanted to make a move for the 5th time, he moved. Bai He's speed was very fast. In virtually a blink of an eye, he arrived beside the Dark Emperor. The Dark Emperor's front paw had just raised and had yet to step on Bai Guang's ribs when Bai He appeared out of the void, smashing a fist toward his chest. Berserker! The sudden change had caused Ning Yu's face to drastically change. The Dark Emperor was only a 6th grade sovereign, so his strength wasn't particularly powerful. Even a greater 1st grade Earth sovereign wouldn't be able to confront him. Now that a 9th grade Earth sovereign had appeared, how could the Dark Emperor deal with it? Thus, Ning Yu contacted Berserker without any hesitation. Don't hold back. Ning Yu was ruthless and ordered Berserker to not hold back. When dealing with an enemy, he had to deal a heavy blow and not give the enemy any chance to retaliate. Shit! Bai He's fist was about to reach the Dark Emperor's chest, but his face drastically changed in an instant. Without any time to think, Bai He immediately retreated at a terrifying speed. Boom! But even if Bai He was retreating at a terrifying speed, he was still half a beat too slow. A massive palm suddenly flew out from the void and slammed against his chest. A muffled sound resounded. Bai He retreated a few feet and slammed against the door of the hall. Crack! 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 Chapter 1434. Chapter 1434. Chapter 1434 snatched the Elixirpuchi. Dark red blood sprayed out from Bai He's mouth, and his face turned ghastly pale. Bai He knew that the martial artist hidden in the void was powerful, but he didn't expect him to be this powerful. Moreover, Bai He was extremely puzzled. Why isn't she acting according to convention? I just wanted to teach that arrogant black dog a lesson. How could you be so heavy-handed? Do you really think that the 3 swordsmen of Giant Shield City are easy to bully? Voila! Outside the hall, Bai Feng and Bai Yu saw Bai He's miserable state and immediately tore through the void and appeared in the hall. Pa! Pa! Bai Feng and Bai Yu didn't get into a conflict with Berserk Warrior right away. Instead, they hurriedly helped Bai He up, placed their hands on his back, and started healing him. Chi-chi! Wisps of vital energy flowed through their palms and into Bai He's body. At the same time, Bai Feng and the others used their perception to probe Bai He's body. Damn it! As soon as their senses entered Bai He's body, the expressions of Bai Feng and the others became extremely unsightly, and they could not help but curse. The condition of White River's body was extremely bad. Even if they tried their best, they wouldn't be able to cure him in a short period of time. Why don't we use that pill? Clenching his teeth, Bai Feng said hesitantly. No, even if the 3 of us were to join hands, it would still be very difficult for us to be a match for him. Bai He shook his head. Then what should we do? We can't just sit here and wait for death, right? Bai Feng said in a deep voice. Let's go. We'll take Bai Guang away first. We'll talk about the rest after Young City, Lord Bai Qi, comes out of seclusion. After a brief pondering, Bai He said, as long as we don't make a move, I believe that the 9th grade Earth Sovereign will not make a move either. Let the younger generation settle their own matters. All right. Bai Feng and Bai Yu nodded. This was probably the best way to deal with it at this stage. Even if the 3 swordsmen joined forces, it would still be difficult for them to fight against the 9th grade Earth Sovereign beside Ningyu. Not to mention that Bai He was heavily injured and couldn't exert even half of his peak strength. Perhaps leaving was the best choice. Of course, even if he wanted to leave, he had to take Bai Guang with him. This matter was not up for discussion. Bai Feng withdrew his palm and went straight to Bai Guang. He lifted Bai Guang up and walked out of the hall. As he walked, Bai Feng turned back to glare at Ningyu. His eyes were filled with viciousness. You're letting them go just like that? Seeing that Bai Feng and the others were about to leave, the Dark Emperor said anxiously, What else? What do you think we should do? Ningyu twisted his neck and asked, What else can we do? Naturally, we have to keep all of them here. After that, Bai Guang will break a few of his lightning fruits. As for the other ninth grade Earth sovereigns, he leave them to me. The Dark Emperor spoke in a clear voice without any hesitation. After all, with Berserk Battle here, the Dark Emperor didn't have to worry about the pill furnace. When Berserker was outside the giant shield city, he had once fought with Tuahi, who was in the heavenly supreme realm. Such a powerful cultivator wasn't a match for the three initial ninth grade Earth sovereigns. Actually, what you said isn't without reason. Ningyu knitted his brows and said to Berserker, "Let's do as the Dark Emperor said. He's not giving me face by leaving the hall without my permission, and I've never let those who don't give me face have it easy." Russell. Berserker did not bother with Ningyu. He tore space apart and appeared before Bai Feng in the blink of an eye. Boom! He clenched his right fist and threw it towards Bai Feng's right arm. Berserker's move was very particular. Bai Feng only had two choices when he punched towards Bai Feng's arm. First, it was a head-on clash, which might result in his right arm being broken. Second, it was to hand Bai Guang over. Bai Feng's eyes flickered before he threw Bai Guang towards Bai Yu. Crack! Just when Bai Feng threw Bai Guang out, Berserker's fist arrived before his chest. A crisp sound rang out. Without a doubt, one of Bai Feng's ribs had been broken. The broken ribs had greatly affected Bai Feng. His body directly fell to the ground, and he fell face first into the mud. Swish! Berserker did not stop after that move. His figure flickered as he flew towards Bai Yu. Retreat! Seeing that Berserker was about to reach Bai Yu, but he was shocked and hurriedly shouted. At such a close distance, it was obviously too late for Bai Yu to retreat. He held Bai Guang with his left hand and clenched his right fist as he made a head-on collision with Berserker. Crack! As it turned out, Bai Yu had thought too much. As soon as his fist came into contact with Berserker's, a cracking sound could be heard. His bones were broken. Bai Yu was only an initial grade 9 Earth Supreme. With his strength, he was naturally not Berserker's opponent. After heavily injuring Bai Feng and Bai Yu, Berserker turned to look at Ningyu. "Leave the rest to me." Ningyu stood up and walked towards Bai He. Ningyu was not worried that Bai He would suddenly go berserk. With Berserker around, he could be at ease. "What the hell are you trying to do?" Bai He's face was dark as he coldly said, "This is the giant shield city. Aren't you afraid that the city lord will reprimand you for making a move on us?" "Haha. Don't use the city lord to pressure me. If he wanted to reprimand me, he would have come long ago. How could there be no movement from him?" Ningyu shrugged and smiled. 10 minutes have passed, and the antidote for the white bone demonic powder has yet to be delivered. So I can only apologize to you guys. "You dare to kill us?" Bai He was enraged as he stretched his right hand into his bosom, wanting to take out the pellets that he carried with him. Since he was so close to Ningyu, Bai He had a chance of capturing Ningyu alive. Naturally, the prerequisite was that he had to take the pellets to recover to his peak state. Otherwise, everything would be futile. Arg. But just when Bai He stretched his right hand into his bosom, Ningyu had already charged out like a bolt of lightning and kicked Bai He's wrist. A miserable shriek resounded from Bai He's mouth. At this moment, Bai He's right wrist was broken. Ningyu had sharp eyes and nimble hands, and he fished out the jade bottle in Bai He's embrace. In the jade bottle there was a white pellet. "This pellet is pretty good, it's mine now." Seeing the white pellet, Ningyu's heart trembled. This pellet was unique, and it could practically regrow flesh from the dead. It could be said that whoever had this pill was equivalent to having a second life. No wonder Bai He didn't take it right away. So it turns out that he wanted to use it on his blade. Looks like I've gotten a bargain this time. Ningyu was satisfied, since the city lord of the giant shield city wanted to harm him. Then he wouldn't feel any guilt for taking the pellets from Bai He. It was so much so that, after a brief pondering, Ningyu said to Quang Zhan, "Take out all the magical treasures and pellets from the 3 ninth grade Earth sovereigns. I'll take care of them." "What? You dare?" This is the giant shield city. Hearing the latter part of Ningyu's words, Baihi and the rest's faces changed. Losing a single pellet was already painful for them, and now Ningyu wanted to kill them. Chapter 1435. I'll go myself. Behave yourselves. Berserk Warrior ignored the roars of White River and the others. He kicked Baihi's butt with his right foot, sending him flying into the air. Then his right hand moved at the same time, carrying Baifeng and Baiyu, and disappeared together. Buzz, buzz, buzz! Although Berserk Warrior and the others had disappeared, the void in the hall was still trembling. Fortunately, the trembling did not last for too long, and it quickly returned to normal. Bang, bang, bang. Following that, 3 figures flew out from the void and landed heavily on the ground. Baifeng, Baiyu, Baihi. It was obvious that the 3 cultivators who had flown out of the void were them. Xiao. Following closely behind, Berserk Warrior also flew out. However, in Berserk Warrior's hand, there were 3 or 4 storage pouches. These were all taken from their bodies. Mad Warrior threw the storage pouch in his hand to Ningyu and said, "Moreover, I've left something special in their sea of knowledge. If they dare to be disobedient, I'll make their heads explode." Berserker would not hold back in the slightest. Ningyu had rescued the majority of the people from Nebula Academy. This kindness was enough to make him serve Ningyu like an ox or a horse for a few years. He did not feel that it was inappropriate to do something within his power for Ningyu. Thanks a lot. After receiving the storage bag, Ningyu solemnly bowed to Mad Warrior to express his gratitude. This was a different matter altogether. The reason why he saved the people of Nebula Academy was because he had enmity with the Emperor Divine Palace and the Jean family. Since Mad Warrior had helped him so much, Ningyu would definitely not forget it. Ningyu, you're finished. No one in this world can save you. White River was practically gnashing his teeth as he spoke. As a 9th grade Earth Supreme, he always carried precious herbs, elixirs, and artifacts with him. How could he endure being robbed by Ningyu this time? Besides, Baihi, Baifeng, and Baiyu were also angered to the point of trembling. However, they knew their own limitations, and they knew that it was enough for Baihi to make noise at this moment. If they were to interfere, then it was very likely that they would arouse even greater disgust from Ningyu. With Ningyu's fearless personality, if he were to kill them here, who would they go to for justice? You want to kill me? Ningyu stared into Baihi's eyes and said solemnly, "There are many people who want to kill me. You should first consider whether you have the ability to do so before you try to kill me." "I indeed don't have that ability, but the city lord does." He was unrepentant as he pointed at Quanzhan. If I have not guessed incorrectly, his cultivation has not reached the pinnacle 9th grade Earth Sovereign Realm. If the city lord personally makes a move, even he will have to suffer a grievance. Hearing you say that, I'm actually a little scared. Ningyu pretended to be terrified and said, "Then tell me, what should I do now?" "What should you do? That's simple. First return our things to me. Then heal the injuries on Bai Guang's body. Finally kneel down," Baihi said proudly. However, Baihi only spoke halfway before he realized that something was amiss. This is bad. Blessings and misfortunes come from talking too much. Ningyu wasn't really repentant, but he was just testing him. "As long as you can treat Bai Guang, we will report this matter to the city lord and let bygones be bygones." After all, Bai Guang was also in the wrong. After knowing the consequences, Baihi immediately tried to salvage the situation, hoping that he could make it in time. Dark Emperor. Ningyu wasn't interested in listening to his nonsense, so he said to the Dark Emperor, "I'll leave this Baihi to you. Take good care of him. I guarantee that I will accomplish my mission." The Dark Emperor revealed an ecstatic expression. Usually he only devoured human sovereigns, and he couldn't even touch an Earth sovereign. Now that he had the opportunity to devour a ninth-grade Earth sovereign, how could he let it go? The Dark Emperor wasn't afraid of anything. Even if the sky collapsed, there would be someone to hold it up. He only had to focus on cultivating. "What are you trying to do?" Looking at the approaching Dark Emperor, he exclaimed as he swiftly retreated. However, he was heavily injured, so his speed wasn't as fast as the Dark Emperor. Boom! The Dark Emperor swept his tail and firmly wrapped around Bai, then disappeared in the blink of an eye. Hiss! The sudden disappearance of Bai and the Dark Emperor caused Bai Feng and Bai Yu to suck in a cold breath, with their faces drained of blood. That black dog couldn't be trying to devour Bai, right? You're only a 6th-grade mortal sovereign, and you want to devour a 9th-grade Earth sovereign? Aren't you afraid of your body exploding? At this moment, both Bai Feng and Bai Yu fell into silence. Aside from them, even Lu Wei and Venerable Spirit Su were silent. They shifted their gazes towards Ningyu to see Ning Yu's reaction. Poof! But when they saw how calm Ningyu was, they immediately spewed a mouthful of blood. There wasn't much change in Ningyu's expression as he said to Bai Feng and Bai Yu, "I'll give you guys a chance to live. Cripple one of Bai Guang's arms each. Otherwise, the Dark Emperor will devour you guys as well. Don't even think about it." Bai Feng clenched his teeth as he continued. "Bai Guang is the son of the City Lord, and the City Lord is a pinnacle 9th-grade Earth sovereign. Crippling his arms is equivalent to pushing us into a pit of fire." "Absolutely not," Bai Yu said in a solemn voice. "All right, I won't force you." Ning Yu shrugged as he sat on the chair and closed his eyes. What's going on? Could it be that Ning Yu's character had changed? Truth be told, Ning Yu's current performance had made Bai Feng and Bai Yu feel uneasy in their hearts. There must be a reason behind this abnormality. They were worried that Ning Yu would suddenly explode and kill them. "Are you sure you won't make things difficult for us?" Bai Feng was still a little worried as he probed. "You're a little weird. I wanted to make a move, but you guys threatened me. I didn't want to make a move, but you guys made irresponsible remarks." Ning Yu stood up and said, "Venerable Spirit Su, Dan Guzi, the two of you suppress the two of them. Sword of Evil, bring Bai Guang along. We'll set off for Giant Shield City." Set off. Ning Yu's words left Venerable Spirit Su and the rest dumbfounded. This was the Giant Shield City, and the City Lord's mansion at that. "You still want to go to Giant Shield City? What are you trying to do?" "Sorry, it was a slip of the tongue. We're going to Bai Chi's residence." Ning Yu slapped his head as he continued. "Since Bai Chi isn't coming, then I can only go and meet him personally." "No, you can't. Bai Chi's residence is very dangerous. It's the most dangerous place in Giant Shield City. You can't go. It's rumored that there are many arrays there. Without the City Lord's token, anyone who goes there will die." Hearing that Ning Yu wanted to find Bai Chi, Lu Wei, and the rest stood up at the same time, all of them disagreeing. No matter what, Giant Shield City was the second largest city under the 100 Flowers Palace. Their city lord was a genuine pinnacle 9th-grade Earth sovereign. Even though the leaders of Giant Shield City on the surface were Fairy Yun Shi and Reverend Shinamo, no one could deny the authority of Giant Shield City City Lord and the dangers of Giant Shield City's forbidden area. Chapter 1436. Chapter 1436. Chapter 1436 on love. It doesn't matter. Ning Yu waved his hand, and then he left the hall. Seeing Ning Yu's action, Lu Wei and the others looked at each other and followed, although they didn't know why Ning Yu would make such a decision. Since Ning Yu dared to go to the forbidden area of Giant Shield City to find Bai Chi, it meant that he had the ability and the trump card. Ning Yu was involved in this mess for them. If they didn't support Ning Yu, who would support Ning Yu? Swoosh! The group left the conference hall in a grandiose manner and headed for the forbidden area of Giant Shield City. Along the way, they attracted the attention of the crowd. Isn't that Ningyu? The one who took a blow from a sky supreme outside the city. Why is your attention so strange? That is indeed Ningyu, but the other two are Bai Yu and Bai Feng, two of the three swordsmen of Giant Shield City. What? Bai Yu and Bai Feng? Aren't they ninth grade Earth sovereigns? Why are they together with Ningyu? Who knows? Maybe the city lord asked them for help. Look, isn't that Bai Guang being carried by that martial artist? Bai Guang? Which Bai Guang? Who else could it be? Of course, it's the city lord's son, Bai Guang. I heard that he brought a few warriors to cause trouble for Lu Wei and the others. Why is he with Ningyu now? Everyone was talking about it. Then, a few people ran to the conference hall to find out what was going on. Hiss! As soon as they arrived at the main entrance of the conference hall, they gasped. Inside the conference hall, several grade 9 human supremes were lying on the ground. Those with good memories knew that these grade 9 human supremes were the ones who came with Bai Guang not long ago. Could it be that Bai Guang and the others were being held hostage? Thinking of this, the cultivators all revealed looks of disbelief. Bai Guang was still fine, since he was only a pinnacle first-grade Earth sovereign. However, Bai Feng and Bai Yu were ninth-grade Earth sovereigns. Also, the three swordsmen of Giant Shield City were said to be inseparable. Why were only two of them here? Where was the last one? Although Bai Feng and Bai Yu were strong, compared to Bai He, they were not just a tiny bit inferior. Even if Bai Feng and Bai Yu joined hands, they wouldn't be Bai He's match. Ning, you didn't take the discussions around him to heart at all. Since he had decided to find Bai Qi, he had to go. He wouldn't care if Bai Qi bullied others. But if Bai Qi bullied Lu Wei and Honorable Spirit Su, he had to intervene. No matter what kind of dragon's pool or tiger's den it was, he would only know once he went in. Dark Emperor, give some of that white river to the sapling and the spatial laws. Don't take it all for yourself. Ning Yu warned the Dark Sovereign in his storage ring as he walked. In the eyes of Lu Wei and the rest, the Dark Emperor stayed in the hall. However, only Ningyu knew that the Dark Emperor had already entered the storage ring. Right now, the Dark Emperor was fully focused on refining White River. The terrifying energy contained in a ninth-grade Earth Sovereign wasn't something that the Dark Emperor could control. Fortunately, he had the help of the sapling and the spatial laws. Otherwise, the Dark Emperor would have long been devoured by the backlash. I definitely have to give some to the two seniors. The Dark Emperor said righteously, I'm not like someone who wants to take everything for himself. The Dark Emperor's meaning was clear. He was complaining that Ningyu had obtained all of Bai He's treasures and elixirs, but didn't give any to him. If you continue to make a fuss, I won't give you any energy. The sapling and the spatial laws were dissatisfied with the Dark Emperor's actions. What righteousness was he talking about? If they didn't help the Dark Emperor, he would have died a long time ago. And he wanted to devour White River. What a fool's dream. The Dark Emperor felt a little awkward. He immediately tried to play dumb and said, Seniors, let's just devour and refine it. He's a ninth-grade Earth Sovereign, after all. If he has any trump cards, it won't be worth it. Cut the crap. Hurry up. The sapling and the spatial laws said impatiently. All right, I'll be right there. The Emperor of the Dark World ignored Ningyu and ran off to work. He was currently a sixth-grade Earth Sovereign. If he could devour White River, even if it was just a third, he could easily advance to a seventh-grade Earth Sovereign. The Dark Emperor's actions made Ning Yu's face dark. If he knew this would happen, he would have left White River for himself to devour. Ning Yu was currently an eighth-grade Earth Sovereign. If he could devour White River, there was a high chance that he could advance to a ninth-grade Earth Sovereign. After a brief thought, Ning Yu turned around and said to Bai Feng, Tell me about the dangers in the forbidden areas of the city, Lord's Mansion. Humph. Bai Feng ignored Ningyu and turned his head away. Then you tell me, Ning Yu wasn't angry and said to Bai Yu. No comment. Bai Yu coldly said these words. Ning Yu wasn't angry and said to Bai Guang, they don't know, but you should know, right? Tell me in detail. Bai Guang was speechless. What do you mean they don't know? Are you really stupid or just pretending? It's not that they don't know, it's just that they don't want to tell you. Bai Feng and Bai Yu's silence didn't mean that Bai Guang wouldn't either. He thought for a moment and said, the forbidden areas of the city, Lord's Mansion, are very dangerous. Even if you enter, there's a slim chance of survival. A slim chance of survival. Ning Yu opened his mouth and said exaggeratedly, scared? If you're scared, then let me go. I can let bygones be bygones. Bai Guang said when he saw Ning Yu's expression, I'm not scared. I just feel that the forbidden areas of the city Lord's Mansion are just SOSO. Even a trash like you can barely survive. If I go in, there won't be any problems. Ning Yu shrugged. Russell. Ning Yu's words caused the surrounding martial artists from the city Lord's Mansion to widen their eyes. All of them revealed expressions of disbelief. They looked at Ning Yu as if they were looking at a monster. Arrogant, arrogant. These words weren't enough to describe Ning Yu. Even a pinnacle first-grade Earth Sovereign would barely survive. You, a middle-phase 8th-grade Earth Sovereign, actually dared to say such shameless words? Hee, there's going to be a good show. Of course there's going to be a good show. I heard that Bai Qi is also in the forbidden area. Do you guys think that Bai Qi will cripple Ning Yu? Cripple? I don't think so. I don't think so either. After all, Ning Yu was brought in by Fairy Yin, Shi, and Qi Mo. Even if Bai Qi doesn't want to give them face, he still has to give them face. You're overthinking it. What I mean is that Bai Qi will not cripple Ning Yu, but kill Ning Yu. Everyone was speechless. However, when they thought about it, they felt relieved. With Bai Qi's character, he might really do such a thing. Furthermore, Bai Qi was about to come out of seclusion. The moment he came out, he would definitely confront Ning Yu. After all, Bai Qi had said that he wouldn't allow Lu Wei and the rest to take a step out of the giant shield pavilion. Furthermore, he wanted to take Lu Wei as his concubine. With the relationship between Ning Yu and Lu Wei, this was clearly a battle of love. Chapter 1437. A supernatural event. Being ridiculed by Ning Yu in front of so many people, Bai Guang gnashed his teeth in anger. However, he was currently heavily injured and had no way of contending against Ning Yu. Don't blame me for not reminding you. There are 2 puppets guarding the entrance to the forbidden area of the city, Lord's Mansion. Taking a deep breath, Bai Guang said, if you want to enter the forbidden area successfully, you have to defeat those 2 puppets. Oh, what's the cultivation of those 2 puppets? Ning Yu was slightly stunned and asked. Those 2 puppets are very special. They will change their cultivation according to your cultivation. Bai Guang explained, you're a middle grade 8 human supreme. If you challenge them, those 2 puppets should have the cultivation of a 1st grade Earth Supreme. No problem. When the time comes, I'll test out how powerful those 2 puppets are. Ning Yu did not continue asking. Instead, he quickened his pace and walked towards the forbidden area of the city Lord's Mansion. There was no change in Ning Yu's expression, but the surrounding martial artists of the city Lord's Mansion revealed gloating expressions. Outsiders might not know, but the martial artists of the city Lord's Mansion were all very clear. If one wanted to enter the forbidden area, there was no need to challenge those 2 puppets at all. The reason why those 2 puppets were placed at the entrance of the forbidden area was to warn the martial artists of the city, Lord's Mansion, to not slack off in their cultivation. Every time they left the forbidden area, they would have to spar with the puppets to test their strength. But since ancient times, countless martial artists of the city, Lord's Mansion, who came out of the forbidden area, had not been able to defeat the puppets. According to legend, The puppets were obtained by the city lord of Giant Shield City from an ancient cave by chance. Adjusting one's cultivation according to the martial artist's cultivation was its specialty. Of course, every time the puppets were activated, they would need to consume a lot of yuan crystals. Even if ordinary martial artists wanted to spar or challenge the puppets, they did not have the qualifications or opportunity. Sha sha sha! The speed of Ning Yu's group was very fast. Almost 5 minutes later, they arrived at the entrance of the forbidden area of the city lord's mansion. This is the entrance to the forbidden area. Ning Yu's mouth was slightly agape as he stared at the tightly shut bronze door in front of him. That's right. Bai Guang nodded and said, "Do you see that silvery white crystal beside the bronze door? As long as you break it, the two puppets will appear." All right. Ning Yu didn't refuse. Instead, he moved to the front of the bronze door. Kacha! Exerting strength in his right hand, Ning Yu directly shattered the silver-white crystal. Creak! In the next instant, the bronze door slowly opened. Swoosh! As soon as the stone door opened, two figures rushed out of the bronze door at an extremely fast speed. Looking at the two approaching figures, Ning Yu's eyes flashed with a cold light. He clenched his fists and punched out. Bang! Bang! Two voices rang out in succession. Ning Yu was sent flying dozens of feet away before he came to a stop. On the other hand, the two puppets in front of him stood still. Second grade Earth Sovereign Realm. Ning Yu slightly knitted his brows and turned to Bai Guang. Didn't you say that the two puppets were only first grade Earth Sovereigns? Why are they second grade Earth Sovereigns now? Sorry, I remembered wrongly. Bai Guang curled his lips. Ning Yu was tricked. What do you mean tricked? He was the one who was arrogant and wanted to break the crystal. That's right. Ning Yu is only an 8th grade Earth Sovereign. Who does he think he is? You want to fight against two of the strongest puppets? What a fool's dream. Hee hee. Let's see how Ning Yu gets out of this predicament. Bai Guang's scheme is great. He brought glory to our city, Lord's Mansion. It's all because of Ning Yu's arrogance. Otherwise, Bai Guang wouldn't have stood a chance. As this was only the entrance to the forbidden area, there were many experts of the city, Lord's Mansion, gathered here. Among these experts, there were Earth Sovereigns and Sovereigns. Most of them were from the city, Lord's Mansion. They were waiting to see Ning Yu make a fool of himself. Ning Yu was only an 8th grade Earth Sovereign. It was almost impossible for him to win against two 2nd grade Earth Sovereigns. I'd like to ask if there's any problem if I break the two puppets. Will I take responsibility? Ning Yu was not angry but continued to ask. You want to break the two puppets? This time Bai Guang didn't speak. The one who responded to Ning Yu was a 2nd grade Earth Sovereign. This 2nd grade Earth Sovereign was called Bai Pai. He was about 40 years old. What kind of person dares to interrupt? Ning Yu's face turned a little gloomy. He said, "It's better for unrelated people to stay away. Otherwise, don't blame me if you get hurt by accident." You. Bai Pai's face turned ugly. He originally wanted to ridicule Ning Yu, but he didn't expect to be ridiculed by Ning Yu instead. You're courting death. Bai Pai stomped on the ground and rushed out. Bai Pai wanted to regain his face and establish his dominance. He had been hiding in the city Lord's Mansion for many years and had long wanted to soar into the sky. As long as he could defeat Ning Yu this time, he would definitely soar into the sky. No one could stop him. As Bai Pai approached him, Ning Yu turned his head and walked toward the puppets. Ignore. Ning Yu directly ignored Bai Pai. Ah! Bai Pai let out a roar and howled. Isn't Ning Yu too arrogant? He actually ignored Bai Pai. Arrogant. He's too arrogant. Don't worry, Bai Pai is very powerful. I saw him fight with a 3rd grade Earth Sovereign a few days ago, and he easily defeated him. I've also seen that battle. Back then, that third-grade Earth Sovereign's aura was powerful, but White Paper only used 3 moves to utterly defeat that third-grade Earth Sovereign, causing him to admit defeat. In my opinion, Ningyu will be in a miserable state. Not only will he be miserable, even his teeth will be knocked out. Most of the spectators looked down on Ningyu, but there were exceptions to everything. There were a few high-rank Earth Sovereigns that were more optimistic about Ningyu. After all, Ningyu could control Bai Guang and make Bai Yu and Bai Feng speechless. That was sufficient deterrence. Crack! Arg! Right at this moment, a crisp sound, along with a pig shriek, resounded in this region. The sudden change caused everyone's faces to drastically change. Everyone looked at the cultivator lying on the ground not far away, and they all revealed a horrified expression. What's going on? What happened? They were familiar with the cultivator on the ground. It wasn't the arrogant Ningyu, but Bai Pai. Why did Bai Pai fall on the ground? What's going on? Everyone was shocked and puzzled. Bai Guang and the rest were also shocked and puzzled. Even the person involved, Whitey, had his eyes wide open and a dumbfounded expression on his face. He remembered that he was about to reach Ningyu's side. Just as his fist was about to hit Ningyu's body, he was inexplicably sent flying backwards. Supernatural incident. You're tuning in to the Thunder Spear YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.